Yeah, baby. Happy Friday. Currently to 63-63, Johnson versus Jeffries. It's a battle of wills. Who will win? What if Hakeem Jeffries wins?
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, my God. The Republicans. I mean, it's just that. Leave it to the Republicans to jack the pooch. How hilarious would that be?
What would you guys have to talk about today, Brother Chad?
You know what? If I would just laugh and say, this is what you get. It reminds me of, what was it, like 10 years ago when the Vikings didn't put their pick in and the other team jumped up and grabbed their pick? Like, that's what I look at. I think, what a bunch of idiots. 67-67. What are our people voting? Do we know?
Well, I know that Tim Burchett over there in East Tennessee, he said he was not going to decide until today. And I have not heard his name be called yet for the vote. So I don't know if Tim has voted. I know that John Rose was all in. I'm not sure about the others. I haven't heard anybody other than Tim Burchett say that he was not going to vote Johnson.
All right. Well, I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, I know he was holding to the vest, but although I saw him come out and say, look, it's tough to go against Trump. That's not a great way to start everything off. I think he's just playing coy. I think at the end of the day, they'll vote for him.
Massey said he wasn't going to vote for him, and if he loses Burchett, that's it, right?
Yeah.
He can't, he can only afford Massey.
He can afford Massey and one present.
Yeah, one present.
So two only that didn't vote for him, but one has to be present.
That makes sense.
If there's more than one present, then Hakeem Jeffries could jump ahead, which would, again, be hilarious.
I'm telling you, man, that would be something.
What would you say?
It would be hilarious because it would be the Republicans creating that for themselves.
Yeah, it's all self-inflicted. Right? It's like I watched that Georgia game last night. Oh, my God, was that amazing. Woo! Self-inflicted. That guy knocked the referee over almost. Got a penalty.
Yeah. That was a first down, too.
Yeah. Oh, that guy, first down, like first and goal.
Yeah.
I mean, that was spectacular. But, like, that right there, if that was to happen, I would say, there you go. There's the Republicans in full force. And could you imagine that? No, I think, well, Rep. Johnson is 3 behind right now.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. And everybody's got to stand up. I love when they do this stuff. It's so many. Hello, yes, I'm invited to vote for this person over here. I think this person's fantastic. It's great. And everybody brings their kids. Yay. So I think Johnson will get it. It may take a couple votes, but I don't. Why would? And again, there's nobody else. Right? You don't have anybody else. Nobody else is there that really wants the gig that's going to be able to get by Johnson. Otherwise, they would have already been there. And I haven't heard anybody throw their hat in the ring. And everybody's like, what about so-and-so and such and such? I'm like, they don't want it. They don't. Because they partially because the whole thing with Matt Gaetz and Kevin McCarthy, they have gotten to the point now where nobody who you think would do a good job would probably want that gig. Because you're going to have to deal with the potential of, well, I've got to negotiate or we can't get anything done. And you don't want to do that, so we'll just not get stuff done? Good God. Who are we? So I don't know how long. I don't know how long this is going to take. I always feel like some stuff takes long, but I feel like these are very grandstandy because everybody's all dressed up. Look at them all in the Sunday best.
That's right.
Everybody's all dressed up and they're acting like they're at the convention where they get up and start talking before they give their votes.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, we know what you're saying and nobody cares. Just vote.
It's going to be. I feel like they're going to make him wait through one. Like somebody's going to vote present, and then they're going to have to go through another round just to make a point.
I mean, like part of the Freedom Caucus just trying to give him a what for?
Yeah, you know. But think about this. If you were thinking, so let's say all three of us had a chance to vote, and I had talked to you guys, and I vote present, and you were going to vote present, Bell. Well, now, if you know that Ken's a no, you've got to think, well, if I vote present, then all of a sudden Hakeem could jump in. And then everybody's going to look at me.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. I know Massey, he feels the way he feels. There's a lot of Andy Biggs. So many of these people out there are, quote unquote, these fiscal hawks, which is great. But the reality is Republicans, it's hard to look at you and say, you guys are doing the good thing because you haven't either. You spend money all the time. It's what you do. It's what government does. So we'll find out soon, I'm sure. But, what do they, so when he wins, is it the black smoke that comes out of the chapel? How's this work?
No, I think it's actually birthday cake and glitter.
If you guys know the black smoke thing, that's the Vatican when they decide who's the Pope. They're like, we got the black smoke coming out. This will be great, though. So everybody's dressed up. They brought their kids and their grandkids. It's just a fun time. Oh, boy, fun indeed. So we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk a bit about this. And, I was talking to Chris about the Tommy Robinson thing. If you don't know what that is, this whole stuff that was going on in, obviously, and I'm gonna move the whole Las Vegas thing over to the side because there's a lot more to it. Again, I think somebody who had lost it, who's having serious issues, and I know a lot of people want to put the false flag or was this, that, and the other. I'm going to put that over there because I don't think it was an act of terrorism. But the whole thing with the New Orleans guy, and again, I won't use their names, the SOB, we need to recognize in this country, and we're going to get into a little bit later, the issues that are at hand. And it's not just about, one little thing, one over here, one little thing over there. There's more to it. And Europe is showing us a path that is gotten away from several countries, and it isn't coming back. They're going to have a hard time getting it back. And Tommy Robinson's interesting. If you don't know who he is in jail for 18 months. But he is he's a crap stirrer. He's an activist. He's a bit of a yobbo, and they talk like this, what's going on, mate? Very much like that, But that being said, what's happening over there, there's some serious issues. And it has zero to do with race, as everybody wants to talk about the color of the skin. All to do with culture. We'll get a little bit of that later. Currently, Rep. Johnson's now, he's 6 up. Are you looking at this kid? He got to 100.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, it's great.
He's on a 6-vote run.
Woo-wee. Look at that.
And he just got a standing ovation.
Well, who gives you hey, way to go. Way to get the vote. What do you...
I don't know what they're standing up and clapping for.
This is just ridiculous. There he is. Look at him. He's all excited. Look at me. I'm going to be this. This is going to be great. I got to get this headache again.
I love stress.
Right? Like, it's awful. That is the most thankless job.
It is, man.
And it's funny because several of you are going to text, he doesn't have a backbone. He's like a jellyfish. He doesn't have this, that, and the other. He's got a job that's awful. Everybody wants to offer up a whine, a bitch, a moan. They never offer up a solution. My old boss in England say, I come to him and say, hey, I got to do this, this, and this. We've got to figure this out. And they go, don't bring me a problem. Bring me a solution. Yeah, well, that's it. Everybody wants to gripe. Nobody wants to bring the solution. What's the solution? Do nothing? Get 100% of nothing? Get nothing done? No. So he'll get through today, and everybody go, and they'll be like, and then they all pat themselves on the back like they did something. You did it. You way to come to work today and get voted in.
And come to work and do your job.
You're captain of the recess line. Oh, my God. Have you ever been to the Hill? You guys ever gone to the Capitol?
I never have, man.
Never have.
I get invited. My buddy Dave, he's a congressperson, he's always invited me. You should come out to State of the Union. And I'm like, no. I said, let me tell you something, dude. Here's the thing. This is what I will do. I will come out if you are the designated survivor. Because I would like to do that.
You mean hang out with him in the undisclosed location?
Yeah. So, because so when you're the designated survivor, they treat you like you're the president. You get all the security, like get everything the president does. It's hilarious. So I said, I'll go out with you and we'll do that. But if not, I don't want, because there's just nothing I got to be honest, going there and then watching people stand up. So it's neat. Everybody should go see it. Right? Like it's one of the great things, the beauty of our democracy, the beauty of everybody needs to go there once. They need to go see what it is all about. This is the people's house, all of that stuff. And then get out of D.C. because it's disgusting. What was the great Chris Rock said? Only thing, it's the only thing white in the D.C. is the White House. It is a place that used to be beautiful, used to be incredible, but Democrats have ruined D.C. But I tell you what, it is amazing to go look at the White House and all of that stuff, the way it was built, which was they built it to basically intimidate others to this is how our president lives. This is how our leader lives. And when he's done, he leaves. So if you have a chance, go check it out for sure. 120 to 108. He's starting to pull away.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Any news on any of our hand?
Any news on our people? Are they doing it alphabetical or how are they doing it?
Yeah, they're doing it out. Well, they're starting with states and alphabetically.
Okay.
Yeah, and I haven't heard whether or not I got to go over here and listen and see where we're at here. Let me check.
Yeah, you go check that out because I'd like to know what's going on. Let's be a helper. Right now, 121, 113. Rep Jeffries doing his thing, trying to make a comeback. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. So, remember, on Monday is the day that they certify it. So that'll be another January 6th. Let's find out what happens there. Because, the people that are out there who are still thinking that Trump is not going to be, certified, you guys are fooling yourselves. Absolutely fooling yourselves. So Johnson faces an uncertain path, says CNN and many others. Oh, my, he's going to be there. We're going to have nothing to worry about. Coming up, a lot of stuff to get to today, including alcohol. So you haven't heard, alcohol causes cancer. That's what I'm hearing. That's what the Surgeon General says.
I don't know about that. Next, you're going to tell me cigarettes cause it?
That's what I've heard as well, right? And I heard Chris talking about somebody who said a doctor caught cancer from somebody.
Like contagious?
That's what he said.
Yeah,
right?
there's a story out of Germany. A doctor apparently was operating on a man and was taking a tumor out. Apparently, the doctor cut his hand, and then a little while later, the doctor's hand formed a tumor.
That's weird. I don't know if I'm buying all this.
Yeah, I mean, it would need some investigation, but then if you think about it, cancer's a cellular thing.
Yeah.
It's alive.
Yes.
So if maybe a live cancer cell jumped to some or got into a cut, could it act like a virus then?
Well, why haven't we heard about it before, though?
That's true.
You would think somebody else would have cut themselves and got cancer.
Well, right now they're busy with bird flu, Brother Chad.
There's a lot of bird flu going on out there.
A lot of bird flu.
So stay away from the birds. That's what's... It's just what I hear.
He's up by 13 now.
He's up by 30. He's pulling away.
This thing's getting out of hand.
This is. I'm waiting for the... Oh, we got another.
Oh, we got another, yeah.
Who was the other?
I don't know.
Good. Manu Raju, tell us who the other was.
I've got to listen to this.
All right, he's going to go listen to this and probably do some news as well. My name's Chad Benson. A lot of stuff to get to. We're going to talk a little bit about, obviously, what's going on in New Orleans. Keep you up to date on this insanity of excitement that is who's going to be the next Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, fake name, and alcohol. That's a big story because many of you listening, you've probably had imbibed in a few beverages of the adult nature before. Talk about that, bunch of other stuff. It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 997. Raycon best earbuds around. Love my Raycons. Absolutely incredible. So normally you'd spend $300-$400. You'd get these things. Look at them. They're great. And yet they've got stems and wires. They don't really fit in your ear very well. And the sound quality. Or you get Raycons. Quarter of the price. Better fit. Better feel. 8 hours talk time, 32 hours of battery life, active noise cancellation, which is insane. The amount of money you have to normally spend for noise cancellation is crazy. On top of that, you've got multi-connectivity. You have fast charging. So for every minute you charge it, you get 10 minutes of charge. So it's insane. I love my Raycons. I wear them every single day when I'm doing my other show. I'm wearing them when I'm editing them, wearing them when I walk here. I wear them all the time, and I love them. If you love sound like I do, 2025 is here. Make a move for you that's going to help you with that audio sound quality without hurting your ears. They're Raycons. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. The everyday earbuds, 15% off right now, 30-day happiness guarantee. Buyraycon.com/Chad.
All right, voting continues for the speakership in our nation's capital. Right now, it is Mike Johnson leading Hakeem Jeffries, Democratic leader, 162 to 153. And Tennessee's 5th District Congressman Andy Ogles voted for Johnson. Rose is getting ready for his vote coming up. I'll let you know how he voted and try to figure out where all of Tennessee's congressional delegation is voting here. Coming up at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
As the chair of the Republican conference, I am directed by the vote of that conference to present for election to the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 119th Congress the name of the Honorable Mike Johnson, a representative from the state of Louisiana.
There you go. Looks like he's going to lose his first speaker vote by all accounts right now. Looks like he's on path because now there are 2 others.
Yeah, there's 2 others.
So
now.
if a third person votes other or against him, this thing could go sideways fast. That would be, something to talk about.
By the way, John Rose, Congressman, 6th District, he voted Johnson, too.
Okay.
So the 2 that I know of, Andy Ogles, 5th District, and 6th District, Congressman John Rose, both voted Johnson.
Andy's got some issues.
Yeah, I saw that story on
the Axios?
Yeah.
Did you see that? You guys don't know that they're investigating some campaign finance issues?
Well, they have been, but now the ethics
committee is getting involved.
Yeah, they're wanting more information. They say
so because it was weird. It's like, hey, it's 300,000. That was 20,000. Well, which is it?
Yeah,
where'd that money go? We're just asking questions.
Yeah,
I don't.
And where did it come from?
Yeah, as always, man. Like that's just it. It's when you start playing with money, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's an issue. You start getting that money, you're playing with it. It's right there. You can use it, and the rules are like you use it for a few things, you use others, but you know what it's just sitting right there. And you're like, and what would you do with it? Can I loan myself the money? Can I not loan myself the money? Where did it come from? But I hired my brother-in-law to build a wall. You're like, what does that have to do with government? It's so crazy. So. According to what they're saying up here, Johnson is going to lose the first speaker vote. So we've got 2 others and a clown show. This is what it's becoming right now.
Yeah, it's neck and neck.
Yeah, but I did say he was going to lose one.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. At what point does it become ridiculous? Right? Like, at what point, do you go, okay, if we're at our 8th one, obviously this ain't getting done. And so then at what point do you go, well, are we going to have to nominate somebody else to get that person over the line? I could see somebody wants to make they want to make their push to look at me. I'm standing, Massey said if they could do whatever they want to him, right? They could dangle him over great white sharks. And I don't think he'd change his mind. But you got 3 others now.
Yeah.
Ooh, message being sent. Oh, my Lord. Welcome to the world of politics. I wonder what Trump's thinking.
Let's check True Social.
Yeah.
I'll check there right away.
Because he's got to be sitting here thinking, okay, I'll give you guys one, but if we're here in 5 hours and we still don't have a pope, I'm going to be mad. Right? If we're still sitting here and we got nothing, and certification comes Monday, and then I'm 14 days away from being sworn in as the president, and you guys can't get your heads out your butts, and we're limping our way there, and then nobody trusts each other, oh, that can't be good. Not unified. And I get standing on your principles. That being said, as you stand on your principles, you also have to recognize you read the room. And the room is, this is my belief, but I'm also part of this team. And I've got to figure out how we work with this situation within the parameters that I currently find myself, because otherwise, get out then. I mean, that's the best you can do. Everybody's like, well, what about the principles? Principles are great. They're fantastic. But you are in a situation where these are the rules. This is what you have to do. And you've got your side, they've got their side, and you can either be a helper or a hindrance. And nobody's saying change your principles, but if your principles are going to stop you from moving forward or doing anything, then and also hurt your side, that's not, you need to do something else at that point. So currently, Johnson, that's Mike Johnson, fake name, on his way to losing his first vote of speakership. He's currently up by 2, but it doesn't matter because he could afford to lose 1 vote. He's lost 3 so far. So we'll keep you up to date. This is, have a feeling this is going to be a long night. That's all I'm saying for Mike Johnson. Hope he packed the lunch. Coming up, a lot of stuff to get to. I want to talk a bit about what went on in New Orleans, but how the left is about pushing something that is very important to them. Because, again, it's about signaling. It's about how do I look. It's not about reality. We'll talk about that, a bunch of other stuff. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
$12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, tracking the approaching Arctic blast. We'll tell you about it during the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, the first round of voting for the speakership in the House is underway. Right now, current gavel holder Mike Johnson has 191 votes. Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, 191. The important number is the others, 3 votes for other. Johnson could only afford to lose 1 Republican and could afford only 1 other going into voting today. The magic number to win the speakership is 218, and right now it does not look like Johnson is going to win on the first round here. We'll keep you apprised. Well, President Biden says he has spoken to family members of victims of the New Orleans terrorist attack.
Yes, I have.
Biden and the First Lady go to New Orleans on Monday. Meanwhile, Jim Ryan says criticism is growing over the city's failure to prevent that terror attack.
In 2017, New Orleans then Homeland Security Director Aaron Miller described Bourbon Street this way.
It offers an iconic or symbolic target, so we want to make sure that we're hardening infrastructure where appropriate,
including an improved barricade or bollard system. But 7 years later, Mayor LaToya Cantrell says that on Wednesday,
bollards were not up because they are near completion.
Mass murderer Shamsa Din Jabbar simply drove around a police car to get onto Bourbon Street.
Investigators in Las Vegas trying to understand why a decorated soldier from Colorado shot himself in the head before the Cybertruck he was in exploded in front of Trump's International Hotel in Vegas on Wednesday.
In Colorado Springs, Matthew Livelsberger's neighbors say he was friendly, nice, and a dedicated soldier.
Yeah, he seemed normal. His wife is very nice. They just had a baby.
Investigators are trying to understand why he rented the Cybertruck, drove to Las Vegas, and shot himself in the head before the truck exploded. Sources say his wife told police he left their house around Christmas after a fight over infidelity.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Speaker Johnson has lost, by the looks of it, his first vote. Said it might be a couple votes. When does the clown show really begin? At what point is it ridiculous? And that you have to start thinking, do we need somebody else? We shall see. We shall see indeed. So over the weekend, horror, or not weekend, it was, I keep thinking, it's so weird having the day off in the middle of the week. I feel like today's like Tuesday. But the horror of what took place in New Orleans as they break it down, the timeline. What is the timeline? What happened? How did they get there? Et cetera, et cetera. Did he work alone? Here's one thing. I don't live in the world of conspiracies. I keep my open mind, but sometimes bad people just do bad things, and they're the ones who did it. There wasn't anything other than that. And the other thing is the beauty of having a media that is open and free and people that can be independent and do things. Some of people now, it's not about getting it right. It's about being first, which is, and no matter what it is, because it's about likes, clicks, shares, right? You know, stuff that 30 years ago, if you were a broadcaster, if you were a news person, a journalist, whatever, and you get things wrong, you could be held responsible now. And by that, you could lose your job and, not work. Today, it's like, people just move on because we move so fast. Again, the timeline, how did this thing break itself down? It's this, it's that, it's a color thing. That's the craziness that the left, wants to talk about all the time. But this guy did a bad thing. His life was a hot mess. We're learning now he had 3 ex-wives, lots of girlfriends too. Was making good money, blew everything, had nothing. I mean, the guy, he was living in this bizarre trailer with goats and sheeps and, ducks and pigs, oh my. It was a nightmare. And he wanted somebody to blame. And groups of people that he saw, maybe people he interacted with, were easily able to sway somebody who was pissed and angry at the world. And they helped him along the way. Or maybe he did it all on his own. That's the other thing. We don't even know if he's talking to anybody at this point in time.
Investigators pouring through hundreds of hours of surveillance footage and more than 400 tips from the public to learn what led up to this deadly terror attack in New Orleans on New Year's Day morning. The FBI revealing a new detailed timeline, saying 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar drove that rented truck from Houston to New Orleans on December 31st, about 340 miles. Starting at 1:29 a.m. on January 1st, authorities say he began posting multiple videos to Facebook, claiming he joined ISIS before last summer and pledged allegiance to the group.
Did he? I don't know. I mean, he said a lot of things. He wanted to kill his family. And his family's like, what? But it brings me to the fact that, so Trump truth/tweets something out. I don't know. Does his truth, it's weird, the whole truth and tweet thing, because not everybody's over on truth. Let's be real. And the people that are there are mostly there for Trump. Everybody that follows Trump, though, is on Twitter. Not everybody who is on Twitter that follows Trump is on truth. So it's kind of an odd thing where his tweets or his truth will eventually end up on there. And I don't know if somebody else is posting for him because they're also competitors, which is an interesting thing. But the minute it came out, let's be real, everybody thought, somebody finally came across the board and did something. Like, he's a homegrown person. Yeah, it still doesn't matter, right? I mean, we know that terrorism is coming in the name of ISIS and all of these things that, that these people, this is who we are. We want a caliphate. We believe in this religion. They're just gangs. The reality, the left was so excited. Only thing would have made them happier was the fact that it would have been him being a white Trump supporter. That would have made them happier. But the fact that Trump swung and missed because this guy was born here was very important. And that's because that's the narrative they push, that, hey, it's really the homegrown folks we need to worry about.
So this does appear to be an individual, a U.S. citizen, radicalized to violence by a foreign terrorist ideology, specifically the ISIS ideology.
Well, the ISIS ideology is based on their bizarre Shia, Sunni, battle of we want to have a caliphate and, kill the non-believers, and we're going to have it's again, they're gangs. using religion as their foil there. But they wanted to come out and make sure that everybody knows, hey, this is really what it is. It's a homegrown terrorist. Even though it's a foreign ideology, still homegrown. And that brings us to last night. Lawrence O'Donnell on MSNBC. First and foremost, wants to point out that, yes, this guy is homegrown, but, man, he is, it's the Army's fault, and still got to look out for that white guy.
First, there was Timothy McVeigh, an American military veteran who killed 168 people, including 19 children, in a terrorist attack on a federal building in Oklahoma City. Timothy McVeigh parked a truck outside that building loaded with explosives in an act of homegrown American terrorism. Timothy McVeigh's hatred of the American government was not tamed in any way by his service in the American military. So, too, with America's latest terrorist attack in New Orleans on New Year's Eve, with an American military veteran driving a pickup truck through a crowd to murder 14 people. The American military veteran terrorist was then killed in an exchange of gunfire with police.
So he's just getting rolling here. And this is what the left wants to point out. The MSNBC, no. This person didn't come across the border. He was born here. People have come across the border. They've not done anything. No, they never would. Right? And this guy's homegrown. And if it's not, well, he's Muslim and he's a person of color. So maybe it's now the military's fault. Oh. So that's where we're going with this? The military's fault?
But when Donald Trump sees the type of terrorist attack that occurred in New Orleans, he doesn't remember Timothy McVeigh, and instead he blames the criminals that he imagines are crossing the southern border.
First of all, I'm going to stop you there, Larry. I'm going to call you Larry. 2 million people have come across the southern border that are what they call gotaways. So we know nothing about them. They chose not to go to a port because, well, some of them just did want to sneak in. I'm not saying all 2 million are criminals, but there are a lot of people inside of these 2 million that have come across the border that we know nothing about, and they chose not to go to a port for a reason. They chose not to go to a port for a reason. I was reading a report last night about how many of them are getting here, in particular from Muslim countries that have ideologies that are juxtaposed to the West. One of the big things is they're printing tons of passports. And they're getting them visas into Venezuela, Argentina, Brazil, and they're getting them up through the triangle into Mexico, into here. And they're not coming here to start a landscaping business. They're not coming here to day labor. They're not coming here for any of those things. They've got money to fly to certain places to get into this country for a reason. It's not imagined. The law of averages says there's criminals. If 1 million Americans went across the border into Mexico or Canada, I can bet there's probably some people that have criminal records.
Hours after the attack in New Orleans, Donald Trump wrote, quote, "When I said that the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true. No one who has ever crossed the southern border in the history of the existence of the southern border has killed more people in this country than Timothy McVeigh, who was born in Lockport, New York, the northwest part of the state, into a white Roman Catholic American family with roots in this country that go back farther than Donald Trump's roots in this country."
So we've got to make sure that you make him, it's about a white person. It's about him being homegrown. It's this love of the left to make sure that everybody knows that everybody who comes here from a different country is coming here only in this utopian vision of being a beacon of hope and potentially votes for Democrats. But you are so full of yourself. You can't be that stupid. But every time I hear something like that, it just makes me think, you're that liberal who goes on a vacation to Alaska or the Antarctic and you see a polar bear. And because you saw a commercial with a polar bear and a Diet Coke going to Santa Claus, you think somehow you can pet the bear because they know that you're kind. And then the bear thinks, oh, lunch has come to me. Because you're an idiot. You're a useful idiot. The thought process that there is no issues that have come across the border would be a lie. It's not if, but when. We've talked about that. I've talked about that for years. Just like there's going to be an earthquake. There will be a volcano that will erupt. There will be a tsunami again one day. There will be issues. These things are easy to see. It is no different with this. And we've invited it in, much like Europe has, and we're going to get deep into that next hour. But they're so excited because Trump once again showing how racist he is. Now, Lawrence O'Donnell can't finish there because he's got to make sure he throws in a little January 6th.
The New Orleans terrorist, like Timothy McVeigh, reached the rank of sergeant in the United States Army. The simple fact is this country has suffered more deadly terrorism at the hands of American-born citizens who are veterans of the United States military than people who have crossed into this country at the southern border. It is very clear from the evidence.
It's very clear from the evidence, guys. It's very clear. When people ask, how did the hijackers get here? A lot of money, and they flew in. They used our kindness. Hey, we're coming here to do this. I'm coming here to study. I'm coming here to do this. This insanity of what the left lives for, which is about pushing this America sucks. If you have a disagreement with somebody, it's only based in sexism, homophobia, Islamophobia, racism. You can't have a thought that isn't their own. And when somebody does something bad, it's because of, not because they're bad, not because they're, irresponsible. It's because of whatever they want to come up with to make them feel better. It's a joke.
Who have crossed into this country at the southern border. It is very clear from the evidence that if you want to worry about terrorism in this country, the United States Army is a much bigger problem than the southern border. No one who crossed the southern border attacked the Capitol on January 6th, 4 years ago. But several veterans of the United States military violently attacked the Capitol on January 6th in an act of terrorism intended to terrorize Congress into violating the Constitution and not certifying Joe Biden as the elected president of the United States.
Got to throw in January 6th. It's exactly what I expect. You haven't learned anything. You don't understand anything. You are the useful idiot that many people on the right think you are, and then you're even more than that. It's a shame. Right? Because you got a platform where you want to talk about changing the narrative and bringing people together. You have no want to do that. But most importantly, you won't want to tell the truth. The truth is there are thousands of people here that aren't here for even the reason that the likes of MS-13 and Tren de Agua are here for. They're here to do real damage to the country. And when that happens, you know who you'll blame? You'll blame Trump. And people on the right. You won't look and go, maybe our cultures don't mix. Maybe we should have been smarter. You're not interested in any of those things. My name's Chad Benson. If you miss any of the show, make sure you grab the podcast. Once again, Mike Johnson, fake name, on track to lose the first vote to be Speaker of the House, but I expected him to lose at least one. It's how many will he lose is the big question. We'll have some more of that, bunch of other stuff to get to as well. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Rough greens. Ruff, ruff. It's for your dogs. It's for your cats, too. They got meow greens. We got a new cat. His name's Buckaroo. We're giving him rough greens right away because we have another cat. His name's Angus, big, giant cat. Angus had bad problems. Now, what is rough greens and meow greens? It's a supplement, powder supplement. Sprinkle on top of your dog or your cat's food. You don't have to change anything. That's what I love about it. And it's got vitamins and minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. Each one of them has their own thing, enzymes, stuff like that helps with certain things. For our cat, Angus, he had a bad skin allergy, and we couldn't find out what it was. And it was costing us a few $1,000s to basically watch this cat just itch himself to death. He'd lost hair around his neck. He was living with the cone of shame. Eventually started eating rough greens, putting it on top of his food. And he was eating it more, and he was eating it more. And the next thing you know, he wasn't itching it as much. The next thing you know, we took off the cone of shame. His hair started to grow back. He's living an amazing life. If you love your animals like I love my animals, try this for free. Jumpstart trial bag of rough greens or meow greens. All you have to do is cover the cost of shipping. It's a $20 value. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFF greens.com. Use code Chad. Roughgreens.com. Code Chad. Roughgreens.com. Code Chad.
Mike Johnson appears to come up short on the first speakership ballot. We'll give you the details at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I think what's important with these two incidents is that you have to remember that the vast majority of men and women who serve in uniform do so every single day with the honor, integrity, and character while upholding their oath to protect and defend the Constitution.
Sabrina Singh right there talking about when it comes to like the Las Vegas guy. These are military people. But wait a minute. I just heard from a guy that the military's the problem, right? The Army's the issue. Like, if you're in the Army, you may lose your mind. I think what took place in Vegas, and this is, will we know everything? No, because some of you out there already think that it's not real. It's a false flag. I think a guy who got caught cheating, had a girlfriend, was losing his wife, his kid, maybe had some other issues in his life, decided he was done. I mean, did you see the weird text messages he sent I think it was his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, like, she hasn't talked to him in like 9 years, talking about how he felt like Batman. I feel like I'm Batman. Flying around in that car or the truck, and then, of course, did they know each other, right? Did they? Because they were at Fort Bragg together. Did they know each other?
I'm not tracking that they had an overlap at any time.
Yeah, that's what you would say. No, I think they were two different things. And I both think they both had mental issues, right? I mean, I think the guy in New Orleans, ISIS played a part in it, and I think he went down a rabbit hole and he lost his blanking mind. But I also think he was looking for somebody to blame because he had lost everything. And 3 wives, I guess. He lost God knows how much money in the real estate world. His kids, he didn't have his kids anyway. He basically spun out of control and then quickly became radicalized. And this guy, I mean, is it a mystery? No, I mean, I think we always want something to be a mystery. I think that's the big thing. We want something to be some sort of, like, there's got to be nefarious. And sometimes the explanation is not exciting, that person just did something because they had problems. And I'm not saying the guy in New Orleans didn't have issues, as far as like his love of ISIS or hate. But when you hear that he had seen something that was a car running into police in New Zealand and kind of said, I think I'll do that. That feels like you're inspired, but it doesn't feel like you're like, this was the plan that they set up, for me. And I don't know if we'll ever find out if he was contacted by anybody or talking to anybody. So again, all a mystery. Somebody texts and goes, he was living with sheeps and goats. I don't think there was any pigs. So, which of course, that's unclean. Can't do that in the Muslim faith. I don't know if you're supposed to have sheeps and goats in your house. And I saw his little place that he had. It was a bit of a mess. It looked like somebody who was twisting out of control. I think it's the best way to describe it. You look in and he's got the Quran over there, but he's got just a mess all over the place. It wasn't like a hoarder situation, but you could see that it wasn't a place of somebody's got clear thought process going on. So sad, absolutely sad, horrific indeed. Coming up, a lot of stuff still to squeeze into. More on the excitement that is the speaker vote. The second one will kick off here in a little bit. Mike Johnson lost the first one. Alcohol. Is it going to cause you cancer? Talk about that as well. If you're missing the show, grab the podcast. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, tracking what could be a wintry mix headed to Middle Tennessee. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. And we're monitoring the goings-on in our nation's capital. The first House speakership vote is over, and it looks like Mike Johnson appears to have come up short by 2 votes. 218 needed. Johnson has right now 216. Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, 215. 3 members voted others. Johnson could only afford to lose 1 Republican vote and only 1 other vote. And that appears to be the reason why he has come up short. So we're waiting to see if it is official And we'll let you know when the next round of voting, or if it starts today, does get underway. President Biden says he has spoken with family members of victims of the New Orleans truck ramming terror attack. He and the First Lady scheduled to go there Monday. Earlier today, the president awarded the Medal of Valor to 8 people, including the 6 Metro Nashville police officers who responded to the March 2023 Covenant School shooting, took down the killer, preventing further bloodshed.
It allowed people to continue their lives in ways that they never would have been able to. There's a lot fewer empty chairs around the kitchen table and dining table because of what these guys did.
So the Nashville Police Department, Sergeant Jeffrey Mathis, Officer Rex Engelbert, Detectives Michael Colazzo, Ryan Cagle, and Zachary Please rushed to the scene, faced gunfire from the shooter there at Covenant. They cleared out classrooms and then ultimately took down the shooter. Criticism growing over New Orleans' failure to prevent the vehicle ramming terror attack. Here's Jim Ryan, who says warning signs were flashing years ago.
In 2017, New Orleans then Homeland Security Director Aaron Miller described Bourbon Street this way.
It offers an iconic or symbolic target, so we want to make sure that we're hardening infrastructure where appropriate,
including an improved barricade or bollard system. But 7 years later, Mayor LaToya Cantrell says that on Wednesday,
bollards were not up because they are near completion.
Mass murderer Shamsa Din Jabbar simply drove around a police car to get onto Bourbon Street.
As for the Vegas Cybertruck bombing, Alex Stone.
With the goal of figuring out why Matthew Livelsberger drove from Colorado Springs to Las Vegas in the rented Cybertruck and shot himself in the head outside of the Trump before the Cybertruck exploded, investigators are now trying to glean answers from Livelsberger's electronic devices. Investigators say it does not appear he was motivated by any terror group or that it was linked to New Orleans. Sources say his wife told police there had been a fight over allegations of cheating in the marriage.
Surgeon General issuing a new warning on cancer and alcohol. Dr. Vivek Murthy calling to add labels to alcohol, warning it is the 3rd leading preventable cause of cancer. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Speaker, second vote, going to start immediately. Mike Johnson, who won by 1 but didn't get what he needed. There were 3 others. Who were the others? Do we know?
I did not. I did not catch all of their names. I know that one of them was Massey.
Okay.
From Kentucky. There were 2 other Republicans. However, all of Tennessee's Republican congressional members voted Johnson.
There you go. So what he needs is to get one of those other ones to come over.
Yeah.
And
well, no,
he needs 2.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, the others, because it says others and present. You need to. Somebody can vote present,
right?
But you have to have. You can only have one person vote.
Massey voted for Representative Tom Emmer.
Emmer
from Republican from Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that was his pick.
There you go. I bet Tom didn't even know it.
He probably did.
And Tom probably voted for Johnson.
Yeah. There was a lot of that going on with the McCarthy thing, too.
That is. So, but everybody's like, well, because several of you have chimed in. It's like, yeah, we need a better speaker. You're not getting anybody else. Nobody wants the gig.
Somebody would step up if they wanted it.
If somebody would, if they could have concessions, which is you can't on a whim decide to get rid of me and hold snap elections every other day because you don't like something. Yes, Bill.
It's Politico is reporting that it says Emmer has been floated as a possible alternative to Johnson, though he doesn't have the votes to clinch the speakership. So how are you an alternative if you have no votes to clinch it?
Well, what would have to happen is you would have to see in this one something like 15 or 20, or if he starts losing it and the other starts to grow, then what you're going to have is the fraction's going to grow in such a way that people will start saying, all right, who would like to do it? Pull Johnson in, and then Johnson's got to decide if he wants to do it. If he doesn't, then he's going to have to decide, because here's the thing, I think he wants the gig, which is weird. He's going to have to decide then to throw his might behind somebody else. But it goes back to we're going to be in the same spot because you don't have a massive lead. You got the slimmest margin in history. You also have a position where if anybody gets into that position or thinks I want it, they may want certain concessions as far as being able to blow you out at any time because nobody wants to live under that pressure. So I always say this, win more. When you win more, this takes care of everything. If you had a 12-vote margin right now and 5 people didn't vote for you, it doesn't matter, but you don't. So, and if the next person is going to be just like Johnson, because everybody wants the gig or everybody thinks they can do the gig, then they get the gig and find out, oh, wait a minute, this is not what I thought it was.
It's like, how do I get out of this?
Yeah. So it would be funny. Somebody said, what about the only other person that would take the speakership is Hakeem? Yeah, because they would if they would unite behind him in a second. And I said last hour, I get Massey. Some people are like, oh, it's all about principle. I get it. You can have your principle. That's why I wouldn't vote for him. The problem is you are in essentially a confined set of rules that you have to follow. This is it. This is the game you're playing. All right? You're not playing basketball. You're playing ice hockey. So this is the thing that you have to do. You have to stay within this confinement. These are the rules. So if you don't like somebody and you're like, I'm on principle, well, okay, fine. So your goal is to do what? That's my thing. They want to whine, bitch, and moan, but they don't bring the solution. And they haven't floated anybody else out there. Oh, one person will get a vote or somebody will do that. But this is the constraints that you have. And I get that you don't like that they spend money. I get all of that. Again, though, what do you do?
Have we seen anything from Massey that he has stated would change his vote? Is he talking about
he said, and I quote,
Johnson is...
You could pull my fingernails off and I will never vote for him.
Well, that's pretty succinct.
Yeah, I think he sent a message, and the message is no. So Tim Burchett's on CNN. What's he saying? Does anybody know? Is he saying? He's saying I got this cool jacket. Looks like I'm a farmer. And how about aliens?
You want to jip it? You want to bring it up?
Yeah, bring it up for a second.
Probably praying. Daddy said that's the guy I'm going with because the first one over the top is likely the one to get shot. So the next person that jumps into this thing could get shot. And I would say, not literally, but figuratively, politically. And I would say you would see a third round person probably be the one that would get it, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's generally the way these things go.
I said one last question, but now I really mean it. What does it say about Donald Trump?
You're CNN, and I'm a conservative, so I'm supposed to say, oh, yeah, sure. No, but I'm good with it.
What does it say about Donald Trump if Mike Johnson does it? Like, how much of a question of Trump's ability to lead and to...
I don't think it says anything. I think what it says, the follow-up is what will say it. His phone call with these folks afterwards, after they do this, and with no clear plan. Mm-hmm. And, where are we going to after this? A good pool player, when I play pool, I'm just hitting the dadgum cue ball into the next ball. A good pool player is looking at that third or fourth shot after that, and where the ball is going and where it ends up. Donald Trump is a good pool player. He sees what's going on. He knows we've got a 3-person majority. He's going to have to rein these folks in, and I think he will. I don't think it shows any negative. And if we were off the record or on the record, I'd tell you the same thing. I don't think it shows anything other than you've got a bunch of independent minds up here, and everybody's sort of sowing their oats right now. And I think we'll pull it together.
All right.
Tim Burchett right there,
pool.
CNN. And the independent side thing is great. It does. And some of these, the couple, again, I don't know who the other two were. The reality is they want a moment with Mike where they can get a few assurances for something. And it might be something like, I want you to spend a certain amount of money in my district. If you want me to get my vote, you're going to have to move something there.
Massey's yucking it up with MTG.
MTG voted. She came out today and she says, we got to stop this. Stop with the pride. Stop with the baloney. Let's get this done. Because there's a bigger thing here, which is you've got the certification on Monday, but bigger than that is you've got the plan in place. You feel like you've got all the momentum. Don't screw the pooch. That's it. Don't. And we'll see. We'll see if they can do that. Meanwhile, back here, drinking.
Surgeon General's report calls alcohol use a leading and preventable cause of cancer, saying drinking is responsible for nearly 100,000 cancer cases and about 20,000 cancer deaths per year. That puts alcohol behind tobacco and obesity as America's leading preventable cancer causes. The report says consuming it increases the risk of cancers in the mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, colon, and in women, breasts. The report recommends new warning labels more explicitly tying alcohol use to that increased risk.
So, alcohol. And I was listening to it. I'm like, okay, seems like a lot. Now, is it correlation, causation? Because I'm going to go out on the limb and say this. I'm going to say this right here. Having never drank in my life, so I've never had a drink in my life. I've never tasted alcohol. I don't know what it tastes like. I've never had a smoke. I've never done a drug. I'm what the old timers would call a teetotaler.
Straight edge, baby.
Straight edge, yeah. That's a young folk. Straight edge. That's our generation. Gen X, straight edge. I'm going to say that I bet there's a lot of people out there when they look at this, though, that they probably drank more than they should have in the study. They probably at one time smoked or still smoke, and maybe not the healthiest. Yeah. So, meaning they may be a little bit overweight. So you put all that in there. Could they be susceptible to it because of that? Because when you look at studies, here's the thing with studies. They go and do studies. One or two people, when they say it's, there's an X amount of chance of cancer rising, it's not what you think. It's not like, okay, there's 1 million people and there's a 20% chance you do this, and all of a sudden 200,000 people have gotten cancer. It's not that. It rises in such a small way, but then they say, well, because of this, there is that chance of getting cancer. Now, again, we don't have controlled kind of really, what you would see studies where everybody's the same for the most part. They're because that's what it is. Because your genetics may be predisposed to cancers. Your may be predisposed to breast cancers. Your family may all live to be 150, and they can eat a pound of bacon and smoke. Whenever they ask people who all lived to that 104, well, how'd you do it? Well, I smoked a corncob pipe, ate a pound of bacon, and black coffee. You don't know. Some of that's just genetics. So that's part of it. But it is interesting because I don't smoke or drink or do drugs, so this might be good for me.
We have updates on scientific reviews, but there's also changes about public consumption, consumer behavior, in the influence of industry, public health needs, and after COVID-19, we've seen a bigger push towards preventative health and what people want to do, so the conversation's shifting there as well. Then you have government agencies like HHS and the Dietary Guidelines for Americans Advisory Committee, and they're the ones who are sitting down and putting together these new guidelines.
Which is crap, because we all know that. How many of you heard this before? So I'm 54. So Ken, Bell, and I, we're all about the same age. Growing up, how many times did you hear eggs are bad for you? And then it was like, no, it's good. It's good for you.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Give you a heart attack.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. This, everything. And then all of a sudden, well, no, eggs are good for you now. Eggs are good for you. There's good cholesterol.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is. It's so insane. And I've heard that 1,000 times. Eggs was bad. right? Like, this is awful. Don't do this. More than one egg a week. Oh, my God. You're on a slippery slope to death.
Got to trust the science, Chad. Got to trust the science.
And then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, wait a minute here. No,
And
eggs
the
are
science
okay.
changes.
Yeah. And let me tell you about the trusting the science. So I'll try to get my buddy to come on. He is a science guy, and he does studies. And he used to joke with me all the time. Dude, if they come with a big enough check, I can get anything to say that it can help you and benefit you in some way, shape, or form. I'm a business. I'm like, okay, that's it. So if you really want to know what's probably causing more cancer than anything else, sedentary lifestyle, that's probably it. Oh, by the way, the crap in our food. I mean, all joking aside with, RFK Jr., but let's be real. Red dye number 5 and a bunch of this stuff that we eat that really isn't good for us. That's, when they say like the Italians, well, they all have a glass of wine and they seem to be fine. They don't live what we do. They eat fresh food every day. They don't have any of this crappy fat. They don't have any of this wackadoo chemicals that are inside of their food. That's why. Plus, they don't have stress. They live on an island and they ride around on Vespas and go, ciao, ciao. That's what they do.
For a long period of time, people did say, hey, a couple glasses a day might be okay. Alcohol in moderation, no big deal. But the research is changing. Alcohol is linked to nearly 100,000 cases of cancer a year. And if someone takes a step back and they look at this, they almost see a normalization of alcohol because you see cancer warning labels on so many other household products. We talk about cancer association with home chemicals, for example. Why not alcohol?
Remember that? Remember that? Well, eating dark chocolate is bad for you. No, eating dark chocolate's good for you. It's good for you. We found out it was good. The chocolate people of America say it's good for you. So believe what science? The science that's got the highest bidder. Because unfortunately, the saddest thing over the last 20 years when it comes to research and everything is politics got involved.
It's just as easy to buy a scientist as it is a politician.
Oh, it's probably easier because the politicians at least can control the money somewhat. Where a scientist, man, you're going there, they're looking for money.
Yeah, you pay them enough money and they're going to find the result you're looking for.
It's crazy, but it's the reality. So somebody is going to come out, you watch. Somebody's going to be from the Alcohol Beverage American Association Union of Bottle, distillery, whatever they are, right? And they're going to go, and now they're going to commission a report that we'll get in the next few months that will be diametrically opposed to any of the stuff these people are saying. That, in fact, drinking is okay. Again, everything is within moderation, right? Like, if you're doing meth, moderation. Here's my thing. What is the moderation on the drink? Because I think it's 1 drink a night per woman and 2 drinks per man. Now they're saying no alcohol whatsoever. Because any bit of that is going to cause you the potential to have cancer, apparently. Oh, and here's the other thing. If you really want to stop, it's dry January.
I say it's a great idea for everyone out there to cut back on alcohol if that's something that you seek to do. And also, dry January, it's 31 days. You got this. I know there's happy hours, bottomless, mimosa brunches, winter weekend getaways, but it's just 31 days. People report increased energy, better sleep, a savings. They're spending less money because they're not drinking as much.
Yeah, well, that's true. I've had a couple friends of mine who've done dry January. They're like, dude, I felt great. I lost like 10 pounds. Got more money in my pocket. I'm sleeping great. Are you going to drink again? Oh, absolutely. The minute I have a chance. Oh, my Lord. Crazy indeed. Johnson is on track to lose his first speaker vote. Now he's going to have a chance at number 2. We heard Tim Burchett say if it gets to 3, then that could be something interesting. So he was just on with CNN. We're going to be watching this as we go about the day. A lot of stuff still to get to. It's 2025. One of the things we're going to talk about is loud budgeting. If you don't know what it is, you're going to, right? We keep you up to breast with real stuff. All this other stuff, it's hooey. We do real things here. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Raycons. These are your earbuds that are amazing. They're incredible. Fit is awesome. Let's talk about the sound. Ray J put these together. He wanted to make sure that everybody in the industry, and he knows everybody from Snoop Dogg and to Bonnie Raitt, everybody in between had a chance to try these because he wanted to get it right. And he knew you had to have a great sound, and then you have to have a great fit. And that's what Raycon delivers. The everyday earbuds from Raycons are amazing. Fast charging, weather and sweat resistant, multi-connectivity. You can connect to two things at once. On top of that, active noise cancellation, which I love. It is truly awesome. And one of the things I use it for is because when I go out and like play golf, I like to be able to kind of hear me hit the ball and hear what's around me. They have awareness mode, so you can hear what's going on, but you can still hear your music or your podcast or whatever. These things are awesome. 8 hours of talk time, 32 hours of battery life. They come with a 30-day happiness guarantee, tons of colors and styles to choose from. It is the best in premium audio at a price that will not break the bank. How about this? 15% off site-wide. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad today to get the best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad.
House Speaker vote set to move to a second ballot in our nation's capital. I'll tell you all about it coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, young Ken.
Yes, sir, Brother Chad.
When exactly does the ginormous, huge ice brigade of cold weather land?
Let's see here. Looks like Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon, a wintry mix will begin with a period of freezing rain that will transition to just rain Sunday afternoon.
How long are we supposed to be cold? Is it supposed to be just that, or are we going to get, is this going to last a couple days?
Let's see here. I'm just seeing Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon. As far as the deep freeze, let's see. Well, they're not giving me the extended here.
Wow. Look at that. They don't want you to know.
But yeah, I know we're supposed to be really, really cold for a couple of these days.
Yeah,
but I mean, right now, we're not even under any winter storm watch or alerts.
Oh, that sucks. Well, we better get the Chad Doppler 9000 out there. The Chad Doppler. I love local weather.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Doppler 9000, Jim. Oh, the people across the street. We got the Doppler 9200. Oh, my God.
The Doppler 9200.
And then somebody's like, we got the Doppler 9201, like it's Price is Right.
Yeah, what I'm seeing through Tuesday are just lows in the 20s and highs in the 30s. So nothing in the teens or anything like that.
Okay, not yet.
Not yet.
Overnight, isn't it overnight, though? I think we're going to drop down to like 18 one of those days.
Oh, okay, here we go. All right, starting Tuesday night, 19 degrees.
Oh, God.
And we only get to 31 on Wednesday.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Wednesday night, 17.
Oh, baby.
Only 31 on Thursday.
Are you excited? Bell's super excited. He's figuring out what he's going to wear.
I think it's vulgar.
No, I was actually looking at the Weather Channel trying to figure out what the forecast was because I hadn't thought about it till he started talking about it.
Well, I'm pretty excited about it.
Brother Chad, no, you're not.
Well,
you're not excited about that.
You know, it's and I am coming from Phoenix, you know, it's always hot. You know, I was talking to Chris when he's out there, 2 weeks ago. He's like, it was 80 degrees. Yeah, it's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And then when it's 100.
But it's a dry heat.
Yeah, it is a dry heat, but at some point when it's 120, you're like, I don't care how dry it is. This sucks.
Yeah, you're cooking.
Yeah, but the cold, I like the cold. I loved it when I went to England, when I moved over there as a kid. You know, I'm coming from California. It's perfect, but I love cold. So, and my kids are fascinated by it. That and trees.
My son loves it too. He was born in Idaho, and to this day, he loves the cold. He wears a hoodie in the summer.
Well, that's weird. That's usually what meth people do.
I have noticed some strange sounds.
Have you ever seen that? Like it's
from his room.
104 with like 92% humidity, and a guy's walking down the street in all black with a hoodie on.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, ooh.
Well, dude, in my neighborhood, the kids getting off the school buses, they're all in hoodies.
Yeah, the hoodie's a big thing. My 13-year-olds and my two 14-year-olds, the hoodie. It's all about a hoodie.
Yeah.
It's sweatpants and a hoodie.
Yes.
And they think it's style, and I'm just like, no, when you get older, it's just that's easier to put on than other stuff. I think you realize that. The stretchy band helps big time. I'm
Soft
pumped.
clothes, baby.
I'm pumped, excited for some weather coming in. And, of course, keep it here with the Chad Doppler 9000 full effect. Johnson has appeared to lose the first one and is now heading to the second one, which will kick off soon. And it's funny watching them because you can see them all on TV. You can go to C-SPAN. C-SPAN's always great. But they're all, discussing, I don't know who they're, playing grab ass with each other. But there's a few people that are over there trying to make a deal. What is it going to take for you to vote for me is the deal right now. Like, how do I get you on my side? People are over there advocating because Massey has already said he's never voting for him. You could pull his nails out. He ain't never going to get that. So you've got to go to the other two and say, all right, what is it that you need? Why are you a hard no, or are you a maybe? But it's going to cost you, and that's how you get deals done in there, right? Like this. If you ever want to see how when you learn to maneuver. You watch Charlie Wilson's War. If you've never seen that movie, Tom Hanks is brilliant. But in Charlie Wilson's War, here's a guy who was a Democrat in a dead red state, way redder than it is now in Texas. And he survived for quite a long time. And everybody owed him a favor. Everybody did. He was always willing to vote for whoever could help him down the road. And that's how he helped build up the massive amount of money and cache of weapons that eventually ended up going to the Taliban. But back then it was the Mujahideen fighting the Soviets because they all owed him something. And so you're going and you're talking to people, trying to get them on your side. And what are you doing? You're horse trading. All right, I might have to give on this. I won't. And if I do, this is going to hurt this guy's feeling. I know I've got him, but now I'm going to have to go offer him something else. And that's what this is all about. We'll have more of the excitement that is this. We're going to talk about a guy named Tommy Robinson and what's going on in Britain right now, as it kind of mirrors a lot of what's happening here, which is this want to make everything racial. Racial, it's racist, it's racist, it's racist. You're missing the point. Over and over, especially the elites, miss the point. And somewhere along the line, when are people going to realize not only are you making a mistake, you are hurting your country for generations. Talk about that, some other stuff as well. Not just that kind of stuff. Plus, later on, we're going to talk about loud budgeting. Wait to hear. This is the new thing. It used to just be budgeting, but now it's loud budgeting. It's the Chad Benson Show. It's Super Talk 99.7.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes where we'll give you some more details about this wintry mix coming our way. Right now in our nation's capital, the House preparing a second speakership ballot after the first round saw Mike Johnson fall short by 2 votes to keep the gavel. Tennessee 2nd District Congressman Tim Burchett telling CNN whether Johnson eventually gets those 2 votes needed.
I would say if it doesn't happen in the next few hours, it probably won't happen. I'd say you'll see them peel off, and you'll see a Jim Jordan or Byron Donalds or somebody like that.
All of Tennessee's Republican House members voted for Johnson in round 1. A new warning following the New Orleans truck attack.
The FBI and the Department of Homeland Security sent out a bulletin to 18,000 law enforcement agencies, basically out of an abundance of caution, telling them be on the lookout for copycats. They're very concerned that people will be motivated by what they saw and try to act out on their own.
And that's Pierre Thomas reporting. Vegas Cybertruck bombing update. Alex Stone.
Neighbors of Matthew Livelsberger in Colorado Springs say he was a nice guy, a soldier who loved his country, and they don't understand why he would explode the Cybertruck in Las Vegas. Investigators are now trying to gain clues from Livelsberger's electronic devices, seeing no link to any terror group or the attack in New Orleans. His wife telling police, according to a source, that he had been out of the house since around Christmas after a fight over allegations of infidelity.
And the U.S. Surgeon General issuing a new warning on cancer and alcohol. Dr. Vivek Murthy calling to add labels to alcohol, warning it is now the 3rd leading preventable cause of cancer. Here's ABC News medical contributor Dr. Alok Patel.
For a long period of time, people did say, hey, a couple glasses a day might be okay. Alcohol in moderation, no big deal. But the research is changing. Alcohol is linked to nearly 100,000 cases of cancer a year. And if someone takes a step back and they look at this, they almost see a normalization of alcohol because you see cancer warning labels on so many other household products. We talk about cancer association with home chemicals, for example. Why not alcohol?
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Breaking news. Apparently, there were 2 votes that somehow were not counted, and now it is showing that Mike Johnson does have enough votes on the first round of balloting and appears to be holding on to the speaker's gavel. And right now, he is in the chamber. He's getting hugs, handshakes. Moments before my newscast, he was actually having a light moment with Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. Those 2 were kind of yucking it up. So now it appears that Speaker Johnson remains Speaker Johnson. Now they're showing him with 218 votes for the speakership. Only 1 other.
They got him to switch.
They got him in the switch.
They got this. They did the switch.
Yeah. So what they do? Did they come back and say, wait a minute, come on, man.
Yeah.
Just change your vote, all right?
That's probably what they did. Before it was totally certified, they probably said, we're going to have a conversation before you hit the gavel and we go at it again.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, I found it interesting. He was, yucking it up there with Hakeem Jeffries, and then Andy Ogles actually came, Tennessee's 5th District Congressman actually came over to Johnson and was pulling other guys around him, and they were shaking hands. They're
He probably said, look, I helped you out here, so I have an ethics report. If you can make that go away, that's how you do solids. It's not very nice, Chad.
Yeah, that'll be another issue for another day.
If he just cleaned this up and he got it in 1 vote, he just completely impressed me versus what happened with McCarthy.
Yeah, I think he got it. Well, it wasn't 1 vote because they never, essentially said we're going to go back to another one. So they had to get the other 2. The other 2 got what they wanted, whatever that is.
Yeah, I didn't know they could do that. I thought you had to have another round.
No, I thought so too, but apparently they never essentially certified it.
There you go.
They didn't actually close the voting before.
Yeah.
So they could go back and change.
And there's always something.
Yeah.
There's always, when you think that's it, there's always something else when it comes with Washington.
It's like music, man. Every rule that exists, there's another rule to get you out of that rule.
if you really, like if they did, what was that, Schoolhouse Rock?
Yeah.
If they did Schoolhouse Rock how it really is, it would be a 6-hour play. We got a continuing resolution, and the caucus says this. I mean, it would be
and all
forever.
the kids that watched it would be wanting therapy after it was done because it would be so heavy-handed.
Yeah, it's just because there's so many archaic rules and weird stuff. A couple of my buddies who are congressmen, they said, when you first get there, it's a little nerve-wracking because there are so many weird little rules, little things about this, little things you can't do, certain ways that bills, and the bill goes from the Senate, it gets kicked back down to the House, then the House votes on it again, and they put stuff in it. What do you think of that?
And then the lobbyists come around and say, hey, we really needed that thing you cut out, put it back in.
That's right. One of you needs to start a war with a country so we can make a lot of money.
Dude, you're taking me back to Saturday mornings.
Yeah. That's God,
the
that
little
was great.
bill, the little bill that was running around
On Capitol Hill. Yeah, it doesn't really work that way.
No.
We all know that. So Johnson appears to be elected. Appears to be.
Yeah.
Well, they're all clapping for him.
Yeah, they're clapping for him.
So
it's
my assumption is, that it's over.
Let's see, somebody's getting ready to talk here.
It's a bald guy.
Yeah, the bald guy. I don't know what his name is.
He's probably a sergeant at arms. Here we go.
Woo, they're cheering. Oh, they're giving a courtesy clap for Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah, that's good. Whatever. Good. Mike Johnson, Hakeem Jeffries. It's the odd couple. Congratulations. We saw it coming and it happened. He's re-elected.
The following committee to escort the Speaker-elect to the chair. The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Jeffries. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Emmer. The gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Clark. The gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. McClain. The gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Hudson. The gentleman from California, Mr. Liu. The gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Hearn. The gentleman from Colorado,
All right, how
Mr.
long is this
Neguse.
going to go on?
7 hours.
The gentleman from Utah, Mr. Moore.
There's just too much baloney that goes on there. It would take hours to do.
Yeah, it will.
Show up there. How long are we going to be here? 6 hours? Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
Oh.
It's the worst. There you go. Congratulations. He's a winner. He gets to go to the cool seat now.
The Democrats are really irritated over this.
I know. Well, yeah, because
they were
hoping
going
for
to use
chaos.
it as a talking point. It's like, look, these people can't even get their own caucus together.
Yeah. Well, because the Republicans were saying that as well. So what do you think of the apples that are those apples, kids? Once again, breaking news.
Well, the alcohol lobby is outside the chamber. They're waiting to have a word.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we got to, I don't know if you heard about this, but they say that we cause cancer. Right? Huh? What do you think of that? Huh, Mike? Get it done, Mike.
We need to legalize cancer now.
That's right. I do. Legalize cancer. You got cancer? You know it's illegal to have. What? I'm still weirding out. I got to see that story about the guy that operated on somebody and got cancer.
Yeah, I got to look
That's
that
crazy.
up.
That just blows me
I think
away.
I think it's a conspiracy.
It on an emotional level, it makes complete sense. But why have we never heard this before?
All I did was type in German doctor, and it finished it for me in the search engine.
Oh, yeah. Because you got to watch out when you type in German anything about what might pop up.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, there's several stories about it.
Well, that's interesting. So there you go. Now, are we going to find out that doctors were getting cancer all along?
Interesting.
Or is it a type of cancer?
Interesting.
Very interesting indeed.
Yeah, Daily Mail. Surgeon catches cancer from patient in first of its kind case.
Well, there you go then. So now I'm not becoming a surgeon. Putting that on the side. Couldn't catch that.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Mom and Dad?
Thank God I didn't become a doctor. Let's talk about something that's serious and scary because I like to do stuff like that. Again, we do stuff different here. If you're new to the show, my name's Chad. Some stuff you're like, I'm not quite sure. Because you know what? Change is hard for people. Makes them uncomfortable. You get comfy, right? Like change is hard. There's a reason there's comfort food. So this is an interesting story as we talk about what went on in New Orleans and radical Islam and all of this stuff. And, people always want to make it about race because everything is about race, right? Especially the left, right? If they need to break it down, it's gender, right? It's sexism, the patriarchy, colonialism. It's all It's always about something. What this really is about is culture. Culture. It's that simple. Nothing else. It's not the color of your skin. It's culture. And right now, a guy named Tommy Robinson is in prison for 18 months in England. And he's a lot of things. I'm going to be honest with you. Tommy's a bit of a nutter, as we would say in England. He's a bit of a hard man, but he has championed the Brits for the last several years over issues when it comes to what he has seen. He's from Luton originally. And Luton, if you don't know, used to be this quaint little British, town, and it's not anymore. In fact, Luton now, you might as well be in anywhere in the Middle Eastistan.
In an England where multiculturalism lies in pieces, Luton exemplifies just how much has gone wrong. This small town, just 20 minutes north of London, has become synonymous to the British media with everything that's wrong with Islam. The other week, an entire family of 12 left this street and headed off to join the Caliphate in Syria. This week, 2 men from this boring-looking road were up in court, accused by the police of a plan to blow up a military base. And on the main street, sitting with a coffee, is a convert currently on bail after allegedly distributing leaflets in central London supporting ISIL. So what exactly is happening here? Like many others, Wasim takes his religion seriously. He goes to this conservative Salafist mosque, and it's clear he and Britain don't understand each other at all. This week David Cameron, the Prime Minister, was saying a lot of Muslims don't see themselves as being British. What do you think about that?
No, we don't, because we're not accepted, let's be honest.
So that was from a few years ago. Luton has gotten way worse. Like, if you are a woman and you walk down the streets of Luton and you're just dressed like you would be here in Nashville, be prepared to be potentially groped and or have horrible things said about you, because that's what it has become. It is about culture. It's that simple. The West and Islam do not mix, especially the radical nature of which many people who are coming from places abroad bring. They're not interested in becoming part of wherever they move to, whether it is Britain, whether it is in Sweden, Paris, Berlin, Amsterdam, or America. They're not interested. Multiculturalism fails over and over again. When I hear people say diversity is our greatest strength, BS it is. Our greatest strength is commonality. Period. If we're a chain, right? So we're all bits and pieces of chain. Some chains links are going to be bigger. This one may be black. This one over here may be, orange. This one over here may be just a regular old steel looking, but we're all made of steel, right? That's our commonality. We're all made of steel. Small, big, the whole 9 yards, the way we latch it, but that's our common denominator. We're different sizes, but that's it. Diversity. We're a chain too, but some of us are made of wood. Some of us are string. Some of us are paper. There's a few steel ones over here. One of these things is aluminum. Another one's plastic. When you pull one, it is strong and it stays together. When you pull the other one, it falls apart. Because the reality is there's no commonality. It was just diverse, looked different. Culture is the issue. We like freedom. We love the world that we live in, the opportunity to have a drink, even though it apparently causes cancer, to do things that they find abhorrent, girls to go to school, the LGBTQ plus community to live in peace relatively. They don't live in peace. Trump's coming to get them. BS. You get where I'm going with this. They're not interested in that. They don't feel like they're Brits or Americans or Swedes because they don't want to be. They want the comfort, not the culture. It's a big deal. They want all of the stuff, but they don't want to be a part of wherever they've gone to. And on top of that, wherever they go, Their goal is to spread and to push out from there. That's the reality of it. And people say, oh, that's Islamophobic. No, that's reality. That's just it. And the left doesn't want to understand that. They don't want to get any of that. It's evil, it's bad. No, it's not. And again, I'm talking about people that are coming places who are bringing with them an ideology that doesn't fit. And that includes people that come here, like I have, do we have a Chinatown here? Do we have anything like that? Any kind of area like that? No? If you go to LA or San Francisco, New York, a few of these places, you can go to places like Chinatown, some of these other places where you go, and I will tell you this right now, there are people that are 70 years old that have been born and raised in America. They don't speak a lick of English. They've not left Chinatown. They don't want any part of what America has to offer, which to me I find to be ridiculous. But they're not interested in spreading, whatever, Chinese culture out into the world where they're, trying. No, they're just, that's what they do. But this is different. They're here across the nation and across the globe, and they're causing hell in the West. There's a reason that Poland has a smile on its face. Because, again, it's not about Islam. They'll make it about, it's because of Islam. Islam itself, because of the culture, their beliefs. They don't want any part of this. They want to live the life that they want to live, where they do. And Tommy Robinson has been pushing this, and he's eventually gone to jail. And over there in Britain, let me tell you something. They've got serious issues with the way that they're going after people because of Facebook posts. Tommy said and done a lot of things. Some of it I don't agree with. I will tell you that. But mostly he's been absolutely vocal about the way that they have treated the British culture. And when you see what's going on there and you understand that there's a battle of culture, you sit there and go, you want to know why you have a Tommy Robinson? Because you didn't protect your culture. There are people that want to come to this country and come here every day, and they look at America, they want apple pie, they want baseball, they want all of the stuff. They want to be as American as possible because they believe in the things that America has, that beacon of hope. And there are people that live here in America, born and raised, that can't stand America. Then go. But there are people that want to come and bring with them their culture. They don't want anything other than a little bit of the comfort that the culture provides them, and you to stay out of their way. And for some people, they want to do damage. This is a nightmare that the West, through their kindness, believing in empathy, and we should do good, and all of a sudden, you invited cobras into a situation that's going to cost you. All right, coming up, a lot of stuff still to get to. Probably some more on this as well. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has been reelected. We'll talk a bit about that. It is the Chad Benson Show at Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens. RUFFgreens.com. Go there. I've got Bell some rough greens coming for his cat. What are your cat's names, Bell?
Sammy Davis Jr. II and Cerise.
All right. He's going to get some meow greens. I'll tell you something, guys. This stuff's amazing. I give it to my cats every single day. Give it to my dog. My old dog, Doodle, man, he was ready to kick the bucket. We adopted him. They're like, he's 5. He ended up being like 9, and we thought we were going to put him to sleep because his hips were bad after about 6 months or a year. We started giving him rough greens. He lasted another 6 years, happy, healthy. We didn't change anything. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega 369. It's just powder. You put it right on top of their food. They love the taste. You'll love what it does for them. If you want to see healthy, happy animals with great shiny coats, tons of bounciness, no lethargy, great gums, teeth, fur, this is what you give them. Rough greens and meow greens. We're going to send you one for free. It is a Jumpstart trial bag. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping. It is that simple. RUFFgreens.com. Use code Chad. Roughgreens.com. Use code Chad. USS, United Structural Systems. Let me tell you something. You want peace of mind, right? When it comes to your house, maybe foundation's not very good. It's a little wet out there. So where USS comes in, they're problem solvers, and we need that in life. And a lot of times, especially when you're homeowners, you start to worry about stuff. They've got over 30,000 satisfied residential customers, and they've done it the smart way. First and foremost, attitude and culture. We just talked about culture. Keeps their employees year after year, which is important because you want consistency. 25 plus years of experience. So maybe you got foundation repair, waterproofing work done. You need stuff done. They work with warranties. They're going to come out and deliver what it is that you need, period. They're based right here in Middle Tennessee. Members of the community, they're out there and about, so you don't have to worry about them going out of business, which can happen in a lot of times. And you don't want to trust that to anybody. So you want a company that cares? United Structural Systems. And why you do this, call them, tell them I sent you. Simple and easy. Serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, and Western Kentucky, online at USSTN.com. Call 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. Homeowners Trust, USS.
Picked up a crash. This is going to be 65 at northbound there at Rosa Parks Boulevard. And it's still Speaker Johnson to you. We'll tell you how coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So Republicans choosing to leave this vote open, not gaveling it out, not ending the vote. Instead, we saw on camera Mike Johnson and other Republicans meeting with 2 of those 3 holdout votes, the 2 that Johnson would have needed to flip to get reelected. At one point, walking off the floor with both of them. That includes Keith Self and Ralph Norman. Those 2 holdout votes then meeting with Johnson behind closed doors. All of this playing out over roughly a 90-minute period.
They got something.
Those 2 names that he mentioned, are those members of the Freedom Caucus?
I think so. I think Self is. I don't know about the other guy.
Okay.
But, yeah, they got something.
That's usually where the problem comes from. And,
Yeah. And look, I like a lot of what the Freedom Caucus is about.
Absolutely.
You can like it, but at the same time, you've also got to understand that we're in a divided nation. You're in a divided party. And to get something done, and I'm a big believer in this, I'd rather have 70% of something than 100% of nothing. And I see too many people who say, I'll take 100% of nothing. Well, that is not good, because eventually what ends up happening is you don't deliver what you're supposed to, and the people turn, and then you can fall out of power. And if you're in a position where you never have to worry about, like Nancy Pelosi, as we all know, she said about, like, perfect example, AOC. She said one time, you could run a cup of water, and as long as it's got a D by its name in her district, it's going to win. It's the same thing with Nancy Pelosi. If you're in a safe district, that's fine. You know, who cares if you're in power or not in power? And same thing goes for certain people in the Republican Party. But if you're in a position where you got to show that you're getting stuff done, that's what you're worried about. And for some people, it's a negotiation tactic. They want more. Maybe they felt like, hey, you know what, dude? Last time, you didn't deliver anything to my district, because that's what you do. You're going there to represent your people, not the internet. I think we forget that. You're going there to represent the people, and your people, they may want something. They may want federal dollars coming back to them that have been taken out of their checks, and they may want certain things to strengthen certain industries or to bring certain things back to their district. Too often now what we have on all sides are celebrities who are more interested in the representation on Instagram and Twitter and Rumble and YouTube and Truth and wherever else they got stuff going on than representing their people. So I think a lot of people were surprised. So the Republicans left it open. Those 2 guys went and negotiated, and Mike had to give something up. And he probably had to give something up that he had given somebody else, and has to redirect something to them. And now he's got to go back to those people and say, look, I'm going to take this away from you, but don't worry, I'm going to make it up to you with something else. Because that's horse trading 101. And if you have 240 Republicans, well, you losing 5 or 6 doesn't mean anything. But when you have the smallest margin in history, you can't afford to lose anybody. So horse trading really is a tough thing to do. Big time. It is, it's almost 2 o'clock here in the beautiful, gorgeous Nashville. Next hour, more on the cultural stuff. Got a lot of people chatting and hitting us up on the text line. We love it when you text us. I try to get back to every single person. A bunch of other stuff to get in. We're going to talk about budgeting for the new year. Loud budgeting. It's a new thing. Loud budgeting. And wait till you hear what this judge did. It's a trip. Is this the new way we're going to do judgy stuff, a.k.a. court hearings in the future? You're missing the show? Bell says, shame on you. I don't. Grab the podcast. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
Shame, shame, shame.
It is 2 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, got a crash. 65 northbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard, exit 85. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Get you the details on that wintry mix headed to Middle Tennessee. Right now in our nation's capital,
the Honorable Mike Johnson of the state of Louisiana, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 119th Congress.
How'd that happen, you ask? Jay O'Brien.
So Republicans choosing to leave this vote open, not gaveling it out, not ending the vote. Instead, we saw on camera Mike Johnson and other Republicans meeting with two of those three holdout votes, the two that Johnson would have needed to flip to get reelected. At one point, walking off the floor with both of them. That includes Keith Self and Ralph Norman. Those two holdout votes then meeting with Johnson behind closed doors. All of this playing out over roughly a 90-minute period.
Stay with Super Talk 99.7 WTN for continuing coverage. NOLA terrorist attack update. Pierre Thomas says federal investigators picking apart attacker Shamsuddin Jabbar's life and what would have driven him to allegiance to ISIS.
Progress is being made, and they believe that he worked alone in terms of executing the attack itself. But there's a critical question. How was he radicalized? Did he do this online solely on his own, or was there an ISIS recruiter or handler directing this from behind the scenes?
Now, the hunt goes on today in Las Vegas for answers into Wednesday's Cybertruck explosion at the Trump Hotel. Authorities say a decorated soldier, Matthew Livelsberger, killed himself inside just before the explosion. Investigators say it does not appear he was motivated by any terror group or that it was linked to New Orleans. Sources say his wife told police there had been a fight over allegations of cheating in the marriage. The Surgeon General issuing a new warning on cancer and alcohol. Dr. Vivek Murthy calling to add labels to alcohol, warning it is the third leading preventable cause of cancer. Here's ABC News medical contributor Dr. Alok Patel.
The question now remains is what impact will this have if it is passed? Will this change public consumption? Will it affect awareness? Because after all, even though alcohol is a known carcinogen linked to many different types of cancers, humans have been consuming it for centuries.
Apple agreeing to pay $95 million to settle a lawsuit over privacy. Apple not admitting wrongdoing, but accused of using Siri to eavesdrop on people to give data to advertisers to sell their products. If approved, tens of millions of consumers who owned iPhones or other Apple devices from September 17th, 2014 through the end of last year could file claims, with everyone eligible getting $20 per device. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
If I was Mike Johnson, I'd look over at the Democrats and go, what? Suck it. Kiss my butt. They wanted chaos. They got none of it. What do you think of those apples? Because that's what they even came out. Someone said, we were hoping for chaos. Well, it's not. The surprise is he got through because what they call horse trading.
The roll now will be called.
It was about an hour of high drama. The first ballot saw 3 Republicans calling out names other than Mike Johnson. Johnson immediately engaged in an effort to win support, huddling in the cloakroom with 2 of the defectors. And in the end, Republicans Ralph Norman of South Carolina and Keith Self of Texas switched their votes.
Mr. Self, Johnson.
It gave Johnson the bare majority he needed to win. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Yeah. It's what it is. Some of you are not happy by it on the text line. Guy said, so the good Christian guy, who's the good Christian guy? Is Massey? Is that what we're going with? Or Mike Johnson, who lied, the quid pro quo, as he said, you know? Who do I trust more, him or Massey, Johnson or Massey? It's politics. I don't trust anybody in politics. I don't trust a soul. Because I know that there is horse trading. I know that you're going to have to give up something to get something. That's the reality of it. So, you know, when I hear people say, well, you know, he's got no backbone, he's got none of these things. No, you're right. At times he doesn't. But he's trying to do a job that is a thankless job. He's trying to do a job where you are, first and foremost, you're the chief money raiser for the Republican Party when it comes to Congress. So you are it. You're that chief money raiser. Then you have to be the person that makes everybody happy and still at times have to go over to the other side and do horse trading with them because you don't have this giant majority. You have a slim margin. So it's great that you have, you know, people like, well, you know, Massey stood on principle. I get it. That sounds great. But politics and principles don't always go together. Because somebody else feels they have their principles over here that are just as important as yours. And this person over here feels that their principles are just as important. And this is what you have. This is the game that you're playing. This is it. Here are the rules. You have to play within the context of this. So be happy, don't be happy. The reality is there is one person that is happy and one person apparently who really wanted this done.
Look, Mike Johnson owes his speakership, his second speakership, to Donald Trump. It's just that simple.
You think that wasn't going to happen? You know, he got on the phone to Self and everybody else said, you know what, do this.
You have to wonder if Trump made any calls before the vote.
He made calls after the vote. He wanted to see, because he probably already knew he wasn't going to move Massey. But the other two, and again, and as I said it before the break, you are not representing the internet. You're representing your people. So at some point in time, you have to go, okay, I don't care if the internet's mad at me. I got to go back, and my people need stuff. And Mike didn't give me what they delivered last time. And, you know, he said, because he ended up having to take it away and give it to somebody else because that's just politics. And so you owe me, Mike. I need to bring certain things back to my constituents. Federal dollars for X, Y, and Z. Voila. He absolutely does owe it to him, though. I'm not surprised, though. I'm surprised he got it on the first one, but they held off. They didn't close the vote, which was interesting, and so a surprise. So Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. Trump, I think, is absolutely the big catalyst behind pushing this thing through because I don't know what else Mike had to offer. I don't. I don't know what he had horse trading wise as far as being able to go in and offer people certain things. They do this. This is something that's been done forever and a day. And it will always be done because this is politics. Like I said, if you really want to see how this stuff works, go watch Charlie Wilson's War. Go watch somebody who goes and collects receipts from everybody and then cashes them in. And that's what happened here. Alcohol is apparently evil. No, not because the Lord said it was evil. He had a glass of wine. He would not want to hear about this. I'll tell you that right now.
The Surgeon General's report calls alcohol use a leading and preventable cause of cancer, saying drinking is responsible for nearly 100,000 cancer cases and about 20,000 cancer deaths per year. That puts alcohol behind tobacco and obesity as America's leading preventable cancer causes. The report says consuming it increases the risk of cancers in the mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, colon, and in women, breasts. The report recommends new warning labels more explicitly tying alcohol use to that increased risk.
Now, where did he go wrong there?
That's what we need is more warning labels because I didn't know alcohol was bad for you at all.
Yeah, they haven't changed it since 1988.
That's literally like saying, well, we need to make the front of the whole cigarette pack the warning because people don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. And here's the other thing. Nobody trusts it. We talked about this earlier today. The reality of how these things flip and flop is crazy because the conventional wisdom used to be, you know what? If you have a few drinks here and there, it wasn't so bad.
No amount of alcohol is really recommended for your health, and that really goes against the suggestions we've been hearing since the 90s that maybe alcohol, at least in moderation, maybe red wine, maybe it's good for you. Increasingly, that's been going in the opposite direction. And so today, the U.S. Surgeon General is issuing this advisory, noting that alcohol is the third leading preventable cause of cancer in the United States after tobacco and obesity, and notes that even though this scientific research has been emerging, a majority of Americans actually don't realize that risk between alcohol and cancer.
Because they just made it up today. 75% of all studies are 100% fake data. I mean, you can get anybody to say anything you want. I can almost guarantee you that the alcohol lobby group, Alcohol Distillers of America.com.org is out spending, bless you, Bell, God knows how much money right now going out and getting some sort of report that says it's great to drink alcohol. Yes, sir.
It just blows me away the way they find a problem. Then in a few months, we're going to hear another report going, you know what? Alcohol's really not all that bad.
Yeah.
And then a few months after that, it's like, we're looking at this wine and liquor thing. It's not good.
No. 2 drinks, 1 drink, 1.5, 2 ounces. It could be red wine, right? Remember, alcohol is bad, but then it was red wine. You can have red wine with a piece of dark chocolate, and it'll make your heart like it's a 10-year-old.
Yeah, you'll end up living 10 years longer.
It's genetics and how you live your life, and it's also, I will say this: if all the things and studies have been done, it's a certain amount when genetics plays a role, but also optimism. How many times do you meet people that are your age and you're like, "What the hell's wrong with you, dude?" You're like 90 years old.
Anything you consume.
Yes.
Anything is always going to be more problematic when you're not doing it in moderation.
Mm-hmm. And what we have here, I mean, everybody can make fun of RFK Jr. all they want. And look, some of his stuff I think is a bit wacky, but when it comes to the fitness side and the reality of what he's talking about, the pharmaceutical industry missed out on something that the tobacco industry didn't. The tobacco industry was never in the tobacco industry. They're in the addiction industry. And the minute the minute they knew the game was up, what did they do? They started buying food companies, putting money there. Why? Because we've got all these things that are going to help you get addicted to this. Right? Captain Crunch isn't going to kill you. Next thing you know, you're 400 pounds. So they're in the addiction industry. That is what they were into. Alcohol, in moderation, like anything, I'm sure it's okay. You have to look at the study, too. Who's the study on? Because we want the study to be, okay, it's a blind study. Well, these people over here are predisposed to breast cancer. These people over here are predisposed to this. This person smokes, drinks, and weighs 500 pounds. How do I know that his cancer wasn't caused by the 2 other things? And his unhealthy lifestyle. And then there's always that person that's fit as a fiddle and they get sick and die. So alcohol.
You remember Jim Fixx?
Yes.
Remember how Jim Fixx died?
Yeah. The guy who was he created jogging, which is funny.
He was like one of the leading proponents of jogging, and he died of a heart attack while he was jogging.
Yeah. I mean, it's remember the what was the because that's a genetic thing. The guy that was the Biggest Loser, that dude who was super fit, along with Jillian Michaels. I forget his name.
I can't remember either.
He was fit, like 3% body fat. What do you have to do? He had emergency surgery. Why? All of his arteries were clogged. He had issues, genetic. Some of that's just the way it is. How many times do we see these? They interview this old guy, right? Has been around since the Civil War. He's sitting on his porch smoking his corn pop pipe. And, how did Papa make it this long? I smoke a pipe every day, drink a fifth of Jack Daniels, eat a pound of bacon and a ding-dong. You can't explain it. But these things are studies that aren't controlled. Not everybody's equal. And I'm, by the way, a teetotaler. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. As Adam Ant would say, what do you do? But I think within moderation, everything is good. And I think the outlook is a big deal. And we can go back to the 80s, the 70s and 80s. And we can go and see how many times I was told that because of eggs, your cholesterol is going to be too high, so you can't eat it. And then there was a war on eggs. Then there was a war on milk, too, right? Remember the war on milk?
One thing we tend to forget, too, is that the federal government has actually admitted that the food pyramid they created in the 60s or 70s?
Yeah, 60s, I think.
They created it in the 60s. The thing has been upside down the entire time. And they're pretending like it doesn't exist now.
Yeah, because as we talked about yesterday, what does the government never do? Like Fonzie. They don't
admit
say,
they're wrong.
Sorry. They'll never apologize for making a mistake. They won't. They'll just act like it never happened. Like when COVID was going on and the person would go out and say, you need to do this. And they'd put it on the website. And 2 minutes later, they're taking it off the website. Somebody comes out and go, don't do that. They just act like that never happened. So, alas, here we are. Here's what you do. Eat better. A little bit. Work out a little bit more. Okay? And I think, and then hope and pray that you're okay. And don't overindulge in stuff that's bad for you.
Yeah, have a glass of whiskey on a Saturday. You don't have to do the whole bottle.
No, you don't. I mean, again, that's an issue. You have an issue, sir. You have cirrhosis. Not the same thing. Bob Harper, that was his name on The Biggest Loser. Yeah, that guy almost died. And you look and you're like, he's fit as a fiddle. But that was genetics, right? Like that's genetic. And it's funny, speaking of genetics, what's his name? I know many of you guys don't like Mitt Romney. Have you ever read his book? It's very interesting. Mitt is a health freak because every male in his family has dropped dead by like the age 40, except for him. It's always terrified that he's going to drop dead. So, sometimes that just happens. People like when I go to the doctors and they'll say, oh, how's your heart? I said, good. I need to lose like 20 pounds and I'm, but I don't drink or smoke or do anything else like that, which I think helps. But they said, well, how'd your dad die? I said, well, he died of a heart attack. Well, you got to watch. I said, well, he died of a heart attack because of drugs. It was like his fifth heart attack. Not because of high blood pressure and genetics, because of cocaine. Oh. Now you guys know a little bit more.
Wait a minute. You're going to tell me that's bad for you too?
Well, it is. In moderation, man. In moderation. It wasn't bad for you in the 80s. Little bump.
In the 80s, it would close business deals.
That's right. Little yayo. Oh, Chad, you said yayo. Coming up, a lot more stuff to get to. A little bit more on Mike Johnson. Some of you chiming in about that. Also want to talk about the grooming thing we were talking about a little bit last hour. Some of you have talked about that because the battle of culture is going on in the West. It's not race, it's culture that is causing serious issues. And we'll do a little loud budgeting. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Raycons. So I play a lot of pickleball, and I try to work out a lot. And one of the things I love with my Raycons is they fit in my ears and they stay there. And when you're working out, man, I don't know how many times when I go like to hit golf balls and I'll be on the range and the guy next to me has one of those little white ones with the stems, and I think it's a tee as he swings and it comes flying off of his ear. With these earbuds, you never have to worry about that. The sound quality, second to none. The fit, second to none. Premium audio, literally the best premium audio you're going to get without having to worry about paying huge prices. They got active noise cancellation. They've got 30-day happiness guarantee, 8 hours of talk time, 32 hours of battery life. If you want to fit in a feel that is second to none with a sound quality that matches it, they're called the Everyday Earbuds from Raycon. Get yours now by going to buyraycon.com/chat. You're going to get a 30-day happiness guarantee. You're not happy? Send them back within 30 days. Plus, I'm going to get you a 15% discount when you use that site-wide. And they got a lot of cool stuff too. Maybe you want a speaker, maybe gaming headphones, but get the Everyday Earbuds. Buyraycon.com/chat, buyraycon.com/chat.
You will not be sending them back.
All right, drivers still working that crash 65 northbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard. That's exit 85. And it is still Speaker Mike Johnson. Details at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Mike Johnson for the win. So excited for Mike. Here's my thing. Do you get extra bucks, right? Do you get it like a...
I don't know. Let's check that out.
I'm pretty sure you get a little bit more than the average.
Right? Like, do you get like when everybody else makes 170, do you get like 171? I mean, I don't know if they give you a new, oh yeah, you get an extra $500 a month allowance for cars or suits or I don't know.
Speaker's salary $223,500.
That's not bad.
Members $174.
Oh, look at that.
Now, majority and minority leader salaries, they're $193,400.
There you go. Look at that. Big guy on campus. So good for him. Some people are angry about it.
So I wonder what Elon Musk would have done with his salary had they made him speaker.
Does he even know? I mean, honestly, like, what's he making a second?
Yeah, well, what's in his wallet right now? Like, how much cash does he have in his wallet?
You have to, I often, you know what? I feel like he has like $100 or something like that. Yeah. And I feel like everything he does is through his watch or anything like that.
Exactly.
He doesn't come across as a guy who carries a lot of cash.
He does it with his watch.
You know who does? Like Warren Buffett seems like a guy that takes out.
Right.
And he's got one of those old wallets. Takes out like, $20 bill.
Has to get through the pictures first.
Do you remember when you're like a billionaire? It's like, oh my God, that's the most amazing. Now he's got what, $500 billion? Is that what he's worth? Give or take?
Something like that.
That is insane. I love it. I've got zero issues with it. A lot of people do. But man, when I always hear people, especially, a lot of people on the left, hey, people shouldn't have that kind of money. Well, first of all, he doesn't have that money.
They act like there's a garbage truck that pulls up to the back of into his backyard and goes, okay, here's all your cash.
It's Scrooge McDuck, right? Like they go in the back room every night and he jumps in his pile of gold. It's not what it is. It's all tied up in stock. I'm sure he's got cash. I'm sure if he goes, and he probably doesn't even know how much he's got because it changes by the second.
Yeah.
Because these guys live off so much. So when you see CEOs and they go, so-and-so made $22 million last year, then you go and look, well, his salary was $1.3 million. The rest of it was stock and some bonuses. So
if I remember correctly, Iger, who's the head of Disney, I think his salary is in the 800s. So he's not even making $1 million a year as far as salary.
Yeah.
All of his money comes from hitting benchmarks that he's required to hit as a CEO if he wants to get the bonuses.
And that's why last year he just made $800,000 because he is messed everything up, huh, Bob? Oh boy. Yeah, that is I think people forget that. It's like when you see football, right? Like how many times you watch it, like so-and-so signs a $300 million contract. Find out how much is guaranteed. Because after the guarantee, it means nothing. And so if you get if you sign a $200 million contract and $100 million is guaranteed and you get $50 million at signing, all you're getting is that $100 million. The rest of it, they could throw you out immediately. You become, especially in football, where you become dead weight. And that's the reality. Hey, what do you think the Titans are going to do? I hear the Titans are looking at what's his name? Is it McCarthy from the Vikings?
I don't know, but they need to do something.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
Because let's be real. If you're the Minnesota Vikings right now, are you really going to go with a guy who's had a couple surgeries already before he ever threw a ball in the NFL over a guy who was a superstar in college, was absolutely should have been a top 2 or 3 pick in Sam Darnold, and are you going to just kick him to the curb so you can bring? No, I don't think they're sold on this guy. And if I'm the Titans, I throw a couple picks out there, like a second and fourth, and go with McCarthy. You're not going to get rid of the guy that's – you might be, somebody this weekend is it the Vikings and the Lions is going to win 14 games and be a wild card and have to be on the road the entire time. That's crazy. Crazy, baby. Mike Johnson, good for you. We wish you the best in this very exciting time. People are asking, Monday is so the way it works is this is the start of the session.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people think it starts when Trump takes office. No, the session starts now. You have to have the speaker in place before you can go and certify the vote on Monday. They would have had a speaker in place even for that. But it's good that they're starting off in a way where, as this 119th kicks off, they're kind of in unison moving forward. Trump is going to have enough fights. He doesn't need to see his people basically destroy each other through friendly fire. That doesn't do them any good at all. So we'll see what they're able to do. But come Monday, you think they're going to storm the Capitol on Monday, the Democrats? We're going to get some Antifa in there?
Well, it's their turn.
It is their turn.
Yeah, that's what it's all about up there, is taking turns.
There's that new video out right now of the bomber or the person who put the pipe bombs out there at the DNC and the RNC. And people are like, he's wearing, Air Jordans. And I'm like, it looks like it's a black and white video. How do you know what he's wearing?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. But, yep, it's over. It's done with. And they're moving on. And now we'll see what takes place. And, of course, you've got everybody else sworn in over there, all the senators. It is game time now. And then come the 20th, it's really game time. So this is kind of like the warm-up act to the big dog on the 20th. I wonder what that security is going to be like. 2 assassination attempts and now a terrorist attack. What do you think that security is going to be like on the 20th? You can't. I'll take a hard pass anyways because I don't want to be around a bunch of crowds because it drives me crazy. But the thought process in today's world of what that might look like is crazy. My name's Chad Benson. A lot of stuff still to get to. We'll talk a little bit more about UK, what's going on over there, and why it matters, and it should matter to us. And on the other side of stuff, we're going to talk about loud budgeting. It's the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top story. We'll tell you about the wintry mix headed to Middle Tennessee during the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, Mike Johnson wins re-election as House Speaker.
The path of prosperity has long been paved with policies that put America and Americans first. And that is what we will champion in the 119th Congress.
So how did it happen, Jay O'Brien?
They emerge from behind those two closed doors, and then Ralph Norman and Keith Self, they walk up to the Speaker's rostrum, and they change their vote just before the vote is gavelled out, which is allowed under the House rules. It puts Johnson over the threshold that he needed. And then, of course, applause breaks out in the House chamber. There's backslapping, there's hugs, there's handshaking. Mike Johnson even shaking the hand of, at least as we saw on the cameras there, Keith Self, after they appeared to talk behind closed doors.
Jim Ryan says criticism is growing over New Orleans officials' failure to prevent the vehicle ramming terror attack.
In 2017, New Orleans then Homeland Security Director Aaron Miller described Bourbon Street this way.
It offers an iconic or symbolic target, so we want to make sure that we're hardening infrastructure where appropriate,
including an improved barricade or bollard system. But 7 years later, Mayor Latoya Cantrell says that on Wednesday,
bollards were not up because they are near completion.
Mass murderer Shamsa Din Jabbar simply drove around a police car to get onto Bourbon Street.
Investigators in Las Vegas trying to understand why a decorated soldier from Colorado shot himself in the head before the Cybertruck he was in exploded on Wednesday.
In Colorado Springs, Matthew Livelsberger's neighbors say he was friendly, nice, and a dedicated soldier.
Yeah, he seemed normal. His wife is very nice. They just had a baby.
Investigators are trying to understand why he rented the Cybertruck, drove to Las Vegas, and shot himself in the head before the truck exploded. Sources say his wife told police he left their house around Christmas after a fight over infidelity.
Alex Stone reporting, and the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Let me tell you something. Speaking of the weather, damage it can do. United Structural Systems is there to help. Foundation repair, yep. Waterproofing, yep. Concrete level, they can do it all. It's awesome. Since 1994, serving Middle Tennessee. Let me tell you, dry weather, we know what happens when it's out here. But we're at the time now where we got rain, it's cold, waterproofing. Are you doing that? Standing water? Maybe you got some in your crawl space, right? Musty odors? Ugh, you don't want any of that. Cracks in your basement floors, you name it, they got it. You're asking yourself, what's going on here? Let United Structural Systems help you with that. They are there for that. They work with warranties. In business, they got 30,000 satisfied residential companies. Call them today. Tell them I sent you. Let them help you because they will. And at a time when you may need it most. Simple and easy. Call 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855. Or go to USSTN.com. Tell them Chad sent you. That's right, USSTN.com. USS, keeping homes dry and stable.
the bars, these bars, there's bars. It's not as strong in New Orleans as Tennessee and Nevada, as Tennessee and in Las Vegas, as Nashville and Las Vegas, the party scene. There's something about New Orleans, but it's not as strong as what I see about these two places. There's something more. It's like one and many.
That is the prophet. I don't know if you guys have seen him. So originally, that was done in October. And, of course, it's all over now. And I don't know, I didn't buy much of it. But, I know some of you have probably seen that. Like, I know that guy. So that was done, I think, the day before Halloween. And he talked about an attack in New Orleans and Las Vegas. But says his biggest feeling is there's going to be something in Nashville because of the bars, the evil that is the bars, the dancing, the sin, whatever it is. And he sees Middle Eastern men, as he talks about, and all these things. And there's lots of shooting and I thought, well, there's you throw enough stuff out there, right? Like I could sit there today and go, there's going to be an earthquake. But the fact that he said Nashville, that's an interesting point, especially because he got the other two right. But he didn't get them because he thought they were going to be simultaneous and it was going to be all one attack, which it wasn't. Nostradamus didn't get stuff. The quatrains that people try to put when it comes to Nostradamus is they try to fit everything in because it's a great story. And I think if we go back in time and you spend time with Nostradamus, you're like, this guy's an idiot. He's a drunken idiot. Hey, in the future, people are going to think you're awesome. Right now, I think you're a drunk idiot. Same thing like Van Gogh. Like people think Van Gogh was all... Van Gogh walked around naked. He was crazy and an idiot by most people's accounts.
If you cut your own ear off, you're pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's probably not a good thing. But it's so there you go. Take it for what it's worth. Does this go along with the mist that's out there? The mist? Oh, the mist. Yes. Watch out for the mist. Look, I know the government does a lot of wacky things, and would I be surprised that they're spraying something? No. And as I said earlier, if you guys are listening to Chris and I, the thing that drives me crazy is the government never goes, hey, we have this superpower mist. Let's spray it and see if people get superpowers. It's never anything good. It's never anything good. It isn't. It's always something where like, oh, yeah, well, guess what? Everybody got some sort of weird cancer and exploded, so let's not do that. But I don't think the mist is a lot of what it is. And then what happens is you get confirmation bias because you think the fog is also the same fog, that something might be happening. But that guy right there, that guy was totally a person who was a prophet. So beware out there. Although I will say, and even before New Orleans, you got to be honest with yourself. We've been living pretty good. We haven't really thought much about it. And there is a heightened awareness now, which I think, maybe, thank God this guy didn't kill more, maybe getting people to go, okay, wait a minute here. How many people were here that came across the border that were completely unchecked? They had unfettered access and they snuck across and we have their gotaways? There's got to be some issues there. What are we doing? And I think it's important that we pay that kind of attention because I think it's absolutely needed. So it's, I look at somewhere like Broadway and think to myself, on a crazy night, yeah, and I called it this week. I said I wouldn't want to be in a crowd right now. I wouldn't. And could I see something? I could see something happening anywhere. The fear is there something big and coordinated? Is there something that is absolutely coordinated? And what does that look like? Because depending on who you talk to, it's not just coordinated here in America. They're talking about coordination in a lot of Western countries. Berlin, London, Paris. Berlin's not a country, but you guys see where I'm going with that? So we're talking about the attack there that people are saying may happen is huge. Bigger than 9/11. Bigger than October 7th in a coordinated way. And one of the things talked about is the fact that as I was reading this report, last night, I'm digging through the stuff. I get stuff sent to me, and they said, check this out. One of the things that's interesting is that not many people are reporting the fact that there are groups that are going out and producing and printing real passports and then getting people to South America and then having them come up to the Northern Triangle. They're not stopping in Guatemala. And they're coming from places where there's a bunch of people that hate everything the West is about. And it's not just South America coming up through here. It's happening throughout the globe. And we talked about it last hour. This is a culture clash, a clash of cultures. It's not a race thing. It's a clash of culture. The culture is this. We like freedoms. We believe in the Constitution. You should be allowed to worship who you want to worship. That's our culture, right? That Constitution, the freedom of speech, right? All those things. No, they don't believe in that. They're not coming here to become part of the culture. They do not want to come here and be part of it. What they're doing, and I'm talking about the clash between Islam and the West. What they do, they're going to places, they're not integrating, and you're getting situations like you're seeing in Europe and in parts of this country. And the amount of people that have come here completely unchecked, and we have no idea where they are, is terrifying. Terrifying. We switch from that, as we do, 2025. Are you ready to loud budget?
Loud budgeting is a way to be more vocal and transparent about your finances, and it is quite the departure from the quiet luxury trend, which was all about subtly and discreetly spending a lot of money on luxury, minimalist stuff.
Fast on the heels of the quiet luxury trend, inspired by shows like Succession,
she brought a normal sort of handbag. You are a laughingstock in polite society.
Comes a new financial trend, making a very different kind of statement.
It's not I don't have enough, it's I don't want to spend.
Loud budgeting.
We're doing drinks or dinner, we're not doing both.
People taking to social media to broadcast their spending goals and limits.
Oh, sorry, I can't. I don't want to spend $100 going out to dinner with you when I could put $100 in my high yield savings account.
It holds you accountable, but also it allows the people that care about you to also hold you accountable.
Loud budgeting. Loud budgeting, Bell. He's my account buddy. Was it Bill buddy? Account buddy. Loud budgeting. So that's where somebody says, hey, I'd like to go out to dinner with you, and you scream at them, you're broke. And the $5 you have, you're putting it in a money market because you're saving up for that big weekend in Gallup, New Mexico.
This TikTok video viewed more than 1.5 million times, resonating with people who are tired of staying quiet about their finances.
My friend wants to go out to dinner. I'm just going to text them loud budgeting this month. I think financial transparency with your friends is something that you don't have to be embarrassed about.
With housing prices up nearly 5% and food costs still more than 2% higher than a year ago, financial expert Tiffany Aliche says loud budgeting can help you cut back on impulse buying.
Budgeting out loud is not just also the words, but it's also having these tools in place.
Her loud budgeting tool, using a deactivation sticker on your credit card. It lists what you're saving money for, like a big trip, stopping you from making unnecessary purchases.
You know what else works? When they deny you. And they say you have insufficient funds for this purchase. That also works. You don't even need a sticker for that. Sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave. Your credit card doesn't work. Your debit card doesn't. Oh, I must have the wrong PIN number.
Whenever I take out the card, it's a physical reminder, because I'm budgeting out loud. Is this a need? Is this a love? Because if it's just a like or a want, then that's 10, 20, 30 less dollars that I can put toward my dream trip.
If you are just starting to make a budget, take a look at your credit or debit card statement and write down where your money went toward different categories for the month. So rent, bills, groceries, entertainment. That's your baseline to get a sense of where you can start to make any spending cuts.
Where are you going to make cuts this year? Depends on how expensive life is. You know, Trump taking over on the 20th, we're, especially with the tariffs, the potential of the tariffs. I mean, everybody already assumes that there's going to be all these tariffs. There may or may not be. Again, they're a negotiation point. But could we expect that things get a little bit more expensive in certain areas? It's a possibility. You know, a little short-term pain for long-term gain. I think most people are that. It is long-term pain with no short-term gain or long-term gain that people get frustrated with. So what are you going to do for your loud budgeting? Why does everything have to have a name? It used to just be budgeting. See, we do stuff like this here, people. Want to make sure that you are taken care of. People are chiming in about what they should do on Broadway. I know there's a couple lawmakers that want to figure out what to do on Broadway. There's only so much you're going to be able to do. Because the other thing you don't want to do when it comes to terrorism is you don't want it to make it so you feel like you're going to a prison when you're supposed to be enjoying yourself. You don't. I mean, you want to get out there and live your life. And that is important. But I know that everybody's like, well, we need to do this or we need to do that. First and foremost, everybody, you and I and everybody, we need to be aware of what's going on. We need to be aware of the situation around us. That's just as important as anything else. And yeah, there's some stuff that people can do. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt's here. Hey. Hey. We've been talking to him a little bit about the game last night. Phenomenal game. The Irish won a game there, sir. Were you not happy about that? I was sitting there. I text Matt. I go, well, they'll get him in the fifth quarter. There's no fifth quarter, Chad. I get that, kid.
The ref screwed us. No fifth quarter.
By the way, how horrible.
I thought there would be a fifth.
How horrible does that kid feel today that he knocked that referee?
I don't really know because I was doing a radio show, so I didn't really see it. But I don't know.
Man, that's
the kind of guy that'll say, you know what, we'll get him in the third half.
Yeah, third half.
In
sports ball.
Yeah, apparently he was like somewhere on the sidelines and the ref, and
You can't be on the white.
Ran into him. And,
Yeah, you can't be on the white. And he had kind of got in to look and see where the guy was running down, and the referee got in his way, apparently. And so that was a hot mess.
A 15-yard penalty. Well, if you, I don't know that he should feel that bad. I mean, fumbling in the red zone. And I haven't seen the game, so I can't really speak too much about the details. But I know that we couldn't score, and we allowed a special teams return, and then we fumbled in the red zone, and then we lost the ball. Yeah, so, I mean, and then the whole fumbling on their end of the field and giving them the free play.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to talk more about this. This is
Are you an Irish fan?
No, God, no. I may look Irish, but
then why are we talking about it?
I don't know, because it's fun. Because we like sports. Sports ball is always great. That's a little.
He was just trying to make you sad.
I'm not trying to make him sad. I was the one encouraging the fifth quarter.
I could turn this in a way that would make Chad feel like crap right now, but I'm not.
How we can do that? Oh, I want to hear about that. We'll do that straight ahead.
Okay, great.
All right,
Let's
it is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Oh, my goodness. You're not very good at math, are you there, Bill? This was not part of
No,
it.
honestly, you're being sarcastic. I'm terrible at math. I'm horrible at it.
Well, he's all here.
He's bad. He's the worst.
He is.
Don't tell him I said this, but he's awful.
It's okay. It's okay.
I like meth.
So
you were hitting the talk back instead of...
Yeah, we're on air, sir.
Tell the audience. Don't just tell us.
Jeez, it's a hot mess over here.
Oh, wait a minute. Was the break that short?
Yeah, it was weird. He calculated it wrong. He's like, we got this. You're going to have 12. Oh, wait, hold on. Here, we're back.
Oh, okay. I was on the air. Did I say the S word on the air?
It's okay.
I think I just said the S word.
That's all right.
I apologize if I just said. I think
We're
I just
adults.
do it. Yeah, we're grown-ups. We're grown-ups.
You know, it's funny.
I would have heard it.
It's people get all freaked out about that. You said something that's just get over yourself.
You know, I want to do that show one of these. It's hard to do the show without being able to say the words, but I'm fascinated with how certain slices of the language have become no-go zones in quote-unquote polite company, right? But then we strive to find ways around those.
Oh, 100%.
So that, you know, there was a comedian that did a bit on the N-word.
Oh.
And which is obviously a no-go zone for all of us. But he made the point that we have turned that very phrase, the N-word, into the N-word in the way that we have treated the language.
Absolutely.
And it's almost the same way with the F-bomb or the S-bomb or whatever, is that you find ways around it.
Biscuits. I mean, we know what I'm saying, right? Well, nobody's hiding.
Oh, fudge.
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't say fudge.
But you know exactly what I'm saying.
Now, back to the football game.
All right.
I'll never watch it.
Yeah, we can't because you already know the score.
Well, I would have. Let me promise you this: if it was 23-10, Georgia winning, I would have watched it like twice last night.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I would have watched it.
Man, I'll tell you what. That's the one thing that I won't rewatch.
Like live sports events?
Live sports, big man. That's why the battle right now with Netflix and Amazon and everything, it's nobody cares about the television shows the way they used to because they're streaming them. All they care about is live sporting events. Last year, 75 of 100 biggest shows were all sporting events.
Right, because there's drama and we don't know the outcomes.
Yeah.
And nobody spoiled it or whatever. You know what I have found? I'm a nerd. I'm a motorsports fan. I'm a NASCAR fan.
Okay.
And I have found that on the Motorsports channel, they occasionally play these old races, like from 1988, that I've never seen, and I don't know the outcome of. And I watch those as if it were happening today. It's fascinating.
See, now I've gone back and I've watched like something will be on like ESPN Classic, you flip it around, and you're like, oh, well, that's like from 1985. I was 15 years old when this game was played. I don't even remember it. And, those players are great. I remember. And you watch a little bit of it. They didn't even have a three-point line or whatever. And it's kind of interesting. But if there was a classic game from 6 months ago, I'm like, I'm not watching that.
But no, I would have as a fan, just, because of the happenstance that the game was on during my show, which I apologize. I've got to apologize to the entirety of the listening audience because I was so distracted yesterday.
What'd you say, Bill?
I was going to ask if I could do something one more time, and then I realized I've already deleted it.
Oh, man.
I was going to play the fight song just one more time.
Oh, isn't that sweet of you?
They all sound the same.
That's not the one. That was the Notre. That's Notre Dame.
Go team, go
or
team,
Michigan
go
or
team,
something.
Oh, go team, and hope we win and stuff. Yeah, team.
Go team! Yay!
Sports ball. What are you talking about today, sports ball guy?
Obviously the. Are you a little surprised it didn't go to a second vote?
Yes.
I am too.
I am too. I thought it would go to at least 2, and then we get the puff of smoke. And
I mean, we always knew that Massey would be the guy, and then there would be a couple of other holdouts making a protest vote. But eventually, those holdouts just decided to go ahead and make what was going to happen. I'm glad that that's what happened. I mean, the guy that all of us voted for in November wanted that to happen.
Yeah.
So I think we need to give that guy. If you don't trust Mike Johnson, do you trust Donald Trump?
Yeah,
is the question.
I think Donald Trump made a few phone calls.
Put
yourself on the phone, please.
I imagine that he did, and Thomas Massey's not a Donald Trump fan anyway. So
it didn't matter. And again, I was surprised. I thought there would be one of those show kind of like protests. People get mad and they're like, Mike's this and that. There's no alternative right now, and it's a horrible job. And the next person's going to have the same issue that Mike is going to have?
Well, because dealing with the 218 or 219, I suppose it is, Republican members of Congress is like dealing with one of those long balloons, right? You squeeze one in and the other end goes this way, and you squeeze that in and the other end goes that way. I mean, so you have to recognize that some members in the Republican Party aren't conservative.
Yeah.
You have to recognize that. And you have to recognize that if you lose them, that vote counts just as much as you lose a MAGA conservative.
Yeah. And a MAGA conservative isn't a Reagan conservative.
Right.
They're more populist. You've got all these, you're dealing with egos and human beings that are, and in many cases, man, we're talking about this, you don't represent the internet and your Twitter account. You represent your constituents. And I think a lot of times some of these people forget that.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that we look at everything that we can agree on and maybe get those big things that we can agree on and not use the things that we disagree on to barter against, or I should say it the other way, use the things that we agree on to barter against the things that we disagree on.
Yeah.
Let's get the things we agree on out of the way.
Because so many people are like, I'm doing this for principle. That sounds great, but here's the deal. This is the parameters which you have to work in, and you doing it for principle isn't going to change anything. It's either we get 70% of something and we get stuff done, or we get 100% of nothing and we lose our power.
Yeah, my grandpa was the first guy that I heard say the phrase that you can either have half of something or all of nothing.
Yeah.
Which do you want?
Yeah.
And, and I prefer the half of something if it's something that I want. So we'll talk about that today. The other thing, I'm going to have Mark Pody on at 5 o'clock. He is the Senate sponsor of a bill that is going to stop hate littering in the state of Tennessee.
What is hate littering?
Hate littering.
Is it like that old thing when the guy used to throw the trash out of the car and then Iron Eyes Cody, the Indian, would start to cry? Is that hate littering?
Well, I think under this bill that might be hate littering.
Do you guys remember that?
I do remember
that.
that.
Do you know that
the
Iron Eyes Cody?
He's doing the old. He's the canoe down there, and that's right. He's very sad because all the cars belching smoke.
He was Italian, 100%. He had zero native blood in him.
That guy.
Zero.
I don't believe
native
you.
blood.
Yeah, I've heard
in
that too.
I don't believe you.
100% Italian.
You can't believe what you hear from noon to 3 with Chad Benson.
You can't, but you can also listen to his kids saying, "Yeah, it was a lie. It's a lie. He fit the bill," and so
I guess you looked the part.
He was a pretendian.
Oh, thank you.
That's our back time
That's in
music.
spirit for me. That's thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh.
So we'll discuss this because I completely disagree with this bill. I got a lot of problems with this bill, and Republicans are the ones pushing it. So we're going to find out what's the deal.
Hate littering.
Hate littering.
Matt Murphy Show. Yeah. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Bell's taking us out with the Georgia fight song. Woo. As yesterday they were destroyed by the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
I thought he was a Notre Dame fan.
Oh, I'm not a Notre Dame fan. Tell you what, kids.
Fan of chaos.
That's what I'm talking about. It's Chad Benson Show. Have a good weekend, guys. Super Talk 997.